words.
Yeah, I guess he lived up to it. Cool. Yeah, we are recording now. That would have been a shame if that was the whole call and we missed the recording of it.
No, that's yeah. It would have been hard to edit anyway.
Cool.
Hey, Sergio.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Sergio.
Random question unrelated to hypnosis. Has anyone ever solved a Rubik's Cube without looking up how to do it here? Can anyone here solve a Rubik's Cube?
I can just do one side.
Okay, Karen,
Yeah, one side, me too.
Karen, when you did it and you just picked up, you didn't look up anything, you just went and figured it out, yeah?
Huh?
I didn't catch the question.
I want to do that.
What's your question, Tyler?
My question was, has anyone solved a Rubik's Cube without like Googling how to solve it first? And Karen has.
My brother has, but yeah, you can do it.
You have a very small one.
I have the regular one downstairs, but this is a good starting point, I think. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this. I just messaged him, and he's still not here.
I made it, but it took some time. I was ill. I had hurt my leg, so I was sitting in my bed, so I put, and then I figured it out. But it took time.
It's good for your brain, I think, for your ability to solve problems, right? And be creative.
I have like this. You have a scene like this? And it is actually the same as you have, but it is not.
How do you solve that?
And you need to solve it also, and you're just making somehow together.
Jeez.
It takes half an hour sometimes.
Yeah, I'll stick with this little guy. I got one.
Like that.
What is this, Tyler? It's for 2-year-olds.
No. It's not easy. It's not easy. And how to put everything in like normal shape is not easy.
We can make a competition.
Oh.
You just picked it up, right? You need to solve that one.
Only I have the app. You don't have the app, guys. Come on, what's wrong with you?
There's an app that you can do it.
I don't know, but I'm sure there is.
Yeah, there definitely is.
I have a bottle of kombucha.
Let's drink. Did anybody had a party during Skype with your friends?
Party.
Like drinking or playing something in Skype? Or
party.
I had one last night.
Oh, and how was it?
We had a virtual games night. We usually have a games night, so we did a virtual games night. We did Pictionary and we're planning other board games like Werewolves.
Now
and
it's on again.
Cash Flow.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Everest.
It was fun.
So, how Everest came back?
Video's looking better. How are we doing, brother?
I'm good. Eating my salad.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. I'll figure it out. All right.
You were here, brother. So,
all right, good.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out. We've heard lots of rumors about what you can do. So I'm very excited to see sort through what's true and what's not. However, everyone's super fucking excited because they'd also heard the rumors. So Karen was begging me earlier to ask the first question. So we're going to leave it off to you guys right now. Karen, go ahead. What was that question you wanted to ask?
Hi, Karen.
Hi, I had to unmute myself. Yes, I find it very interesting. There's a rumor that says that you can hypnotize people without using any words.
There's a rumor that says I can hypnotize people without using any words.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video proof?
No.
No. Okay. All right, so I have a video posted up, and basically, in order to drop someone into trance, you don't have to use your words. That's just the easiest way to guide them. Essentially, when you're dropping someone into trance or hypnotizing someone, you're just guiding them from being externally aware to internally aware. So you've got 4 states of awareness. You've got externally associated and externally disassociated, and then you have internally associated and internally disassociated. What that means is that if you're paying attention to me and my words, you're associated to my voice, but you're not paying attention to anything else around you, right? At that point, once I've got your attention and you're listening to my voice and you're disassociated to everything else, because most of the time you're going through your day-to-day life and you're doing your day-to-day things, right? If I can grab your attention or your awareness, then I can start to get your conscious attention, your focus. And then if you're listening on my words, then I can slowly at some point just have you close your eyes and continue to listen to my word. And then I can begin to describe the feelings that you're feeling inside of your head while your eyes are closed. Maybe it's a calm, comfortable, relaxing sensation that starts to float from the top of your head. Maybe it goes down the back of your neck and through your shoulders. And with every breath in, you can feel your chest rise and your lungs fill with air. And then you can feel those feelings. So at that point, is what we did is we drew you from being externally associated or disassociated to my voice, had you close your eyes, and then started having you become internally associated to your feelings and the way that your body is responding or reacting at any given moment. Pretty much guiding and leading. Now, I guess to answer your question, or was there a question?
Yeah, it was how to do the same thing without words.
Okay.
If you can hypnotize somebody without any words, then it means that you can hypnotize people in a foreign language that doesn't understand your language at all.
So now here's the caveat to this, is just because you've dropped someone into trance doesn't mean that you can guide them if they can't understand where you want them to go. So you need to work on body calibration, on being able to communicate with something other than your words. Maybe it's just your tonality. Maybe it's your, so if you guys are interested in nonverbal hypnosis, there is, give me a second, I'll give you his name. 1 second, I'll give you exactly. You go to YouTube.
Post the link in the chat. Yeah.
What's that?
Can you post the link in the chat?
Sure, I'll look it up here in a little bit, and then I'll give it to you. Basically, is what he's going is he's got his own program. He's a French doctor, and he doesn't speak any English, but everyone that he's talking to, he's speaking in French or whatever. So his point is that he uses everything as nonverbal. So when he walks up to people, he immediately gets them fascinated on his eyes, and his eyes become very intense. And he doesn't say anything, but he just starts guiding them into a trance. If you know how to guide people into a trance, then you don't necessarily have to verbally guide them there or take them there. So is what I did with this one in particular woman is I was out on the sidewalk of Venice, I believe, and there was I believe she was Cuban, and she didn't speak any English. And I had, or not Cuban, I'm sorry, she was Latina of some sort. And I had a friend who spoke a little bit of Spanish and had just enough to kind of introduce her. And at that point, he was like, "Oh, you don't speak English." He's like, "I'm sorry, I can't really do anything." And I said, "Well, come on over here. Let's see what we can do." Basically, your physiology, your body is a feedback loop for your mind. Can you guys still hear me, see me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in order to, this is off of James' Trick. In order to take someone into trance, you can just assume trance-like behaviors. So we're going to get into physiology, and I'm sure you guys have already heard this or have learned more. But if someone's in a depressed state or depressive state, and you ask them to get out of bed or get up and be excited, they're going to tell you literally they can't. I can't get out of this mood. I can't, because their physiology won't allow them to. On the opposite side of that, if you've got someone that's so excited and they're just so pumped and they're in this physiology, ask them to be depressed right now. Ask them to access that depressed state, but still have them in their current physiological state. You can't, because your mind and your body are a feedback loop. So what your mind says, your body does. What your body does, your mind says. It's a feedback loop, and this is how you go throughout life with, entering in your own reality. Likewise, if you want to change the state of your mind, you change the state of your physiology. Maybe you have a hard time controlling your thoughts. Maybe you have a hard time being able to have a positive attitude. But if you start changing your physiology, you sit up, you stretch your chest out, you take deep breaths in, you hold your head high, you'll start to assume the physiology of the states that you're wanting. So confidence, or maybe, you know, if you guys are out hypnotizing people, I always enter into a trance state. So that way I can go into trance first with other people and then guide them there and take them there. You guys have heard the saying that you have to go first?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So same thing with trance is, you guys know what catalepsy is?
No.
No, okay. So catalepsy is rigidity within the body, right? So you've got firm catalepsy or rigid catalepsy, and I think it's placid catalepsy. Basically, you can have someone that when they go into a state of trance, their body can start locking up, and their muscles can start to get locked into position. You can see this with yogis where they've got their, can you guys see that? Where they've got their hands resting like this, and then they'll go into trance for however long, how many ever days. When you see someone and you're giving them a deepener, you can have someone stick out their hand and then imagine that their hand has a steel bar that's going through it. And as they go from their external association of your voice to the internal association of this steel bar that they're imagining in their arm, they're going to start to feel their arm get locked tighter and tighter and more rigid, almost like a steel bar. This is a deepener, but it's also a hypnotic test, because if someone's listening to your words long enough for you to be able to get their arm feeling stiff and locked, you could do this. You guys do it yourself if you want. Does everyone know what catalepsy is or no? Is it just Karen on the line with me?
No,
Yeah.
I do.
You guys, okay.
We know. I know.
Okay. All right, so
Me too.
try this exercise out. Hold your hand out, and then I want you to look at the tip of your fingers right there in front of you, and I want you to imagine your hand, your arm, becoming stiffer and stiffer, like there's a steel bar running right through it. And the more that you can feel that stiff bar, you can feel that cold metal, you can feel your arm become more and more stiff, more and more locked into place. And you can even start to lock it in place as you can feel it get tighter and tighter and tighter. And then just be aware how your muscles and how your arm is already tightening, but see if you can relax your fingertips just a little bit, or see if it's just a little bit harder as they lock into place. Now, as much or as far as you allowed yourself to do this, you can now start to feel the rigidity, the catalepsy that's in your arms. Now, on the count of 3, you can release it as it melts into a loose, limp arm. 1, 2, 3. And now try to bend it. All right? See how easy it comes? And it just came from a simple suggestion, couple simple suggestions. Hi, Sergio. How are you? There you go. That being said, if you get someone to assume a trance-like state before dropping them into trance, or without even using their words, by just guiding and suggesting with your physiology, then you can start to get them in a trance-like state. So let's say that you get someone their arm locked, right? But you haven't said any words. You've just picked up their arm. You've looked at it weird. You've kind of communicated to them what you want them to do without saying anything. And then you start to show that, oh, look, this is getting even tighter and tighter. And then the language barrier is going to create enough confusion. It's going to create enough trance that their arm is going to start to lock, because they're going to be curious about what's happening. And at that point, you've already got them in a trance-like state. Have them shut their eyes, become externally disassociated, and then start rocking their body. And that's going to start moving their equilibrium, and that's going to get them into a more of a trance-like state. And then you can tap on various places to go ahead and send confusion. And then if you tap on the forehead and then on the shoulders and down the arms, it's going to send the message that you want them to be able to start to go into a nice, deep, relaxed state. You don't have to use your words in order to communicate trance. You just have to show people where to go.
I have another question then.
Okay.
I'm a horse trainer.
Okay.
And do you have any pets? A dog or anything? Do you have?
I don't have any pets currently, but I have hypnotized animals.
But when I train horses, then the horses goes in very, very focused in my movement and try to copy it. And that's how you train a horse. You do it yourself, and then the horse is trying to copy. And when you go together with the horse in that state where the horse is but trying as hard as it can and do everything every movement you do, and I try to take on the right attitude and do, and the horses copy me, and then it feels like hypnotizing a horse. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
but
falling
you
in sync
say
with the
you
horse.
cannot hypnotize an animal, so I think it's just concentration. But it's very much alike somehow in hypnotizing without any words, like what you explained, that the horse is just copying your movements.
We are all vibrational beings. We are all based off of energy in this universe. No matter what your foundational beliefs are, I think everyone can agree that on some form or level, you know, when you look into your quantum mechanics, that everyone's vibrating, we're all reacting off of energy. So if you walk into a room and there are people that have low energy or low vibrations, you're going to feel that. And you're going to absorb those vibrations and those energies. And it's
And
going
they
to
will
cause
feel yours.
it's going to cause
Yeah.
a reaction in your neurology with your brain waves and your chemical response, and it's going to physically draw you, or with your physiology, draw you into that same level. Likewise, if you walk in or there's someone that's high energy, then they're going to come through there and maybe they love everyone and they've got this high vibration of love. Everyone is always in sync with everyone else. Now, if you're closed off and you're disassociated from the world, then you're closing off your energy. We can get into energetic principles. But where this comes into play is that each and every time you communicate with someone, when you get in rapport, you're essentially getting on the same vibration with them. You're thinking like them, you're agreeing with them, you guys are vibrating at the same level. I don't know if you guys have seen that video where there's 30 different metronomes on the table and they're each started at different times. And so there's 30 different metronomes that are all going out of rhythm, just back and forth. It just looks like a whole mess. Within the matter of 2 minutes, they all start, you can start to see them sync up. And then within the matter of 3 minutes, they're all going the same way. And then you can see there's one little metronome that is opposite. It got out of sync. And then there towards the end, they all sync up. And the point is that when we all work based off of vibration and energy. And when we walk in and we communicate with people, you guys are matching your energy and your vibration. When you are getting into trance with people, you're going there first. And then you're getting into a theta wave state where you go into trance and you're not thinking about everything else. You're satisfying fight or flight. And so you don't have to worry about surviving. You can go inside of your mind and dream. You can disassociate for a little bit. And then the person who's guiding them, obviously you're going into that same state, leaving them. So with your horse, you'll feel that you're not hypnotizing the horse as much as you two are getting in sync with each other. You're listening to each other and you've got this rapport, this communication, and words don't have to be said, but you can feel that energy. The horse knows if you get scared, and if he's looking to respond to you, which way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's like a dance somehow.
It is a dance.
Try to synchronize each other. Yeah.
So I'm saying when you start to pay attention, these hypnotic principles are in every aspect of your life. They're in every single area. There is no such thing as hypnosis as much as there is hypnotic principles, and just understanding that this is the fundamentals of the reality that you're in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Karen. Did anyone else have any other questions? Does that help everyone?
Can I have a follow-up question to her question?
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, hi. So just curious, because I think one of the things that I worry about, if you start to guide someone into trance, their own thoughts can get in the way of that. It can get noisy in their head if you're not using voice.
Yes.
If you're not filling their heads with a suggestion, then their own noise, their own whatever thought they have at that moment can get in the way. So how do you go about that? How do you make sure that they stay with you even though you're guiding them non-verbally?
Gotcha. So non-verbally, that's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to, are you guys only interested in non-verbal hypnosis, or are you interested in actual hypnosis as well?
Oh, both. Yeah, definitely. But I'm just curious. It's now just more curious.
Okay. So to answer, I'm going to leave the nonverbal side of this out of it, just because that's going to be everyone's own experimentation. You're going to have to figure that one out for yourself. Nonverbal hypnosis comes down to body calibration and being able to communicate, essentially without your words, being able to have a connection and rapport with someone. And you guys could practice this. I mean, I'm sure you'll probably do it at the seminar, but at some point, go up to people and maybe it's someone you know, but without saying any words, just look them in the eyes and try to communicate with them and start to realize how thoughts and ideas begin to pop up in your head, and then start to understand that if you can separate them between whether they're your own or they're the other person's. A lot of times we pick up other people's chatter and we don't even realize it. A lot of people say, oh, I'm an empath. Yeah, I do that. But more often than not, we as, you know, the average person goes through, we absorb people's thoughts and energy. And, you know, sometimes we don't know where that's coming from, but your neurology is picking it up. Now, to answer your question on how to get past someone else's personal resistance, I always tell people, you're your own worst enemy. The only one that's preventing you from being able to make the change in your life that you want is you. Your beliefs, your thoughts, your hesitation. That being said, people have a natural inherent, you're afraid of what you don't know. You know a tiger is dangerous. You also know that you can keep yourself, you know, 10, 15 feet away from a tiger. That's a known. When you grow up, you start learning all these things throughout your life. You learn knowns and then unknowns. All of your unknowns are scary to you. These are the things that you don't know what's going to happen, and so you're afraid to even step forward. Hypnosis is one of those unknowns. People don't know what to expect. So if you simply tell them what to expect, not only are you going to be doing a pre-induction, because as you describe to this person that, listen, you're just going to sit there, you're going to take a nice deep breath in, maybe you'll close your eyes, and you'll just be able to allow yourself to listen to yourself for a second. And anything that pops up into your head is okay, as you just take a nice deep breath in and allow yourself to relax a little bit more, okay? As you begin to describe to people how they're going to be safe, calm, comfortable, and relaxed, they're going to become safe, calm, comfortable, and relaxed. So this is part of the covert hypnosis. This is part of the conversational. Is a lot of your hypnosis is going to be in the pre-talk or the pre-induction. As you're describing to them what to expect and what you want them to do, tell them what to expect and what you want them to do, which is maybe you'll have chatter in your voice, and then slowly but surely you can count backwards from 3, even deeper. The deeper you go, the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you go, and the deeper you go, the more you can let those voices just settle and melt into the distance, into the space. Just guide them someplace where they disappear. Now, I always set myself up for success, so I let people know what I want beforehand. That being said, to be able to get past people's worries and anxieties, there's one helpful trick that I always do that works every time, and I find a reason why they want to be hypnotized. You still with me, Sarah? Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whenever I drop someone to hypnosis, I ask them, what might they want in life? Why might you want to be hypnotized? And I know how to listen for the words that you can sell anyone anything if you're giving them something they want, right?
Yes.
In order to drop people into hypnosis, I'll ask them, what's important to you about this? And they'll say, well, I want to, you know, eat less throughout life, or I want to stop smoking, or I want to, you know, I ran into someone who had, I was just talking to him on the street, and he was pee shy, he was bladder shy. I dropped that guy all the way out in the middle of the street in a matter of less than 30 seconds. And he didn't even know he'd been hypnotized. And I started it off with, you know, meditation, right? Because he'd been a little cocky. And I was like, you know meditation, right? So I played the hypnotic, or his ego, the hypnotic principle with his ego against him. And I led him. I said, you know meditation, right? And he said, yeah, I know meditation. I said, okay, let me show you something. Close your eyes. He closed his eyes, and I just started taking him down a progressive relaxation. You can feel the comfortable, calm, relaxing sensations from the top of your head all the way down to your body. And in the middle of the street, this guy is fully out, right? And then I brought him back up. I was like, that was cool. You know, a little test done. And then a couple minutes later, his friend was like, you've been saying you want to talk to a hypnotherapist. Why don't you talk to him? And the guy was like, no. He got real hesitant, real scared, real quick. And at this, I was curious. I asked him, why might you want to be hypnotized? He goes, well, because I'm pee shy. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, I can't pee in public. I said, okay. I said, you know, we could probably fix that in a matter of like 2 minutes. He's like, no. I'm like, why not? He's like, I don't want to be hypnotized, not here in the middle of the street. I was like, you were just out, mother. Anyways, and so what I did was I said, I pulled him to the side, body calibration, kind of me and him against the world. I said, listen, I said, you just went through this with me a second ago. I said, you've got your friend right there. She's looking out for you. You know, I've got my friend. Everyone's looking out for you. I said, you've been dealing with this for how long? And he said, you know, whatever it was. And I said, okay. I said, and is this something that you want to fix? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, look, let me talk in your ear for about 2 minutes to bring you back up. And then by the time that you're done, you won't have to worry about this anymore. And that would be worth the time, right? He said, okay. And then so all I did was I got in rapport with him. I matched his physiology. I matched his tonality. I pulled him off to the side. I understood where he was at from his version or his point in the world. I explained everything or I listened to what he was worried about, and then I gave it back to him. And then I gave him a suggestion of, hey, it's not that big a deal. And then we went through and I dropped him down. And at one point, I was hitting all the important notes because I had him go through and access the feelings of where he was feeling blocked. I had him access the feelings of where he felt free and flowing. And then I just removed the old blockage feelings and replaced them with a colorful new flowing feeling. And that was everything that his neurology needed in order for it to hypnotize himself to be able to have success in that area. At one point, his friend came up and she grabbed his arm and tried to rip him out. She goes, okay, come on, let's go. And he was so entranced that his body went loose and limp whenever she touched him, and then he went right back down. He never opened his eyes. He was so deep into trance that no one could disturb him. She kind of looked at him, confused. She looked at me, confused. And then I gave her a, what are you doing? And she stepped back. That was the nonverbal, communication. And I brought him back up. And when I brought him back up, you could just see the light in his face. Everything that he had been dealing with that he was so worried about before was changed in a second.
Cool.
Essentially, if you want to drop someone down, give them something that's valuable to them, and they will be more interested in what you're trying to offer them than some weird person trying to drop them in hypnosis. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there is always a way. Yeah.
The second part, you're welcome. The second part to that is I also give a suggestion of what I want. So I tell them, my voice is the only thing that matters. Everything else only serves to take you deeper. The deeper you go, the more relaxed you feel. The more relaxed you feel, the better you go. And the better you go, the deeper you go. If I mess my words up, you just keep the deeper you go, the more relaxed you feel. At that point, my voice is the only thing that matters. Everything else only serves to take you deeper. What that will do, and it happens almost every time because that's a powerful suggestion, is that tells them that nothing else matters and that anything that they hear just trances them out even more. They will create a program that will start to separate their consciousness. And this is where you get into split consciousness. And then you can start saying, and as you allow everything else to fade away, you can already begin to pay attention to that feeling wherever it is on the body. And you start splitting their consciousness away from their worries and thoughts. Also, just for a third one, if you like, I kind of cheat anymore because I like things becoming efficient and easy. I will tell people, I will start guiding them. I will walk them along a beach. I'll have them taste, touch, feel, hear their surroundings. And then I will take them immediately into a black room once I've started seeing that they're already absorbing themselves into that beach or that area. Because now I know they're following me in my imagination. And then I have them sit in a dark room with candles. And then I see them sitting there. And then I have them see themselves walking around themselves. This language is hypnotic, and then it gives them a vision or an image that they are walking around themselves in a darkly lit room, which they're safe because they're the only ones in there. There's nothing else going on. It creates a gray room of sorts. And then I tell them, now you give yourself all the suggestions that you need to allow yourself to go all the way deep, all the way down. That's the right now.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So the suggestions, instead of coming from you, they take it as suggestions from themselves.
It's coming from their own voice and their own.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
That helps people go right in because now I've had people where I've said, I've actually hypnotized people that told me their objection. They say, oh, I can only be hypnotized by this person. I said, oh, okay, close your eyes. Imagine that anything I say is in this person's voice in the matter of 10 seconds.
Cool.
It's creative. It's an art.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
I see that Ronnie has a question, so you can ask your question, man.
Yeah, can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ronnie.
Okay. Well, you were saying right now a couple of different situations in which you've worked with people, and I was interested in one of them. For example, you give an example of a person that said that they were trying to eat less, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to hypnotize a person that is family of mine, and this person scratches her face and her skin because she gets stressed up. And on the hypnosis that I made to her, she was scratching, and so the thing that I could get from her, the reason was because she was afraid of being fat. She used to be a higher size when she was little, and she used to get bullied because of it. But then I finished and I put an anchor to her, and I told her that every time, because I found that persons that start feeling stressed, also most of the times it's because physiologically they're also missing water, and I don't know, it's like they're feeling like drowning. That was one part. So I gave an anchoring to her of whenever she felt like that. First of all, she was going to breathe in and exhale a couple of times so she could get her stress down, and also drink water. But I don't know. I mean, since she's a relative of mine, if that put a blockage or something, because at the end of the hypnotic session, I could see that at the end of the hypnotic session, it was like, I don't know, kind of like she didn't believe in a part, but then during the whole week, she said like, oh, it didn't work. I was still scratching. So I don't know, in your experience with working with this, because I really don't know if it was something, maybe it's something deeper, or maybe that was the reason, or maybe she wasn't saying something. I don't know what.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hey, Mateo, I saw that you hopped on real quick. Could you mute yours real quick, just because I'm on my phone, and so I can only see one person talking at a time. That way I can talk directly to Ronnie.
Okay.
Cool, thanks, bud. All right, so Ronnie, there's a couple different things that go into play with this. Give me 1 second until you pop up. So the one thing that I enter in, or the one thing that I hold or know to be true, is that I don't know anything. That's how I am able to have such success with the people that I work with, is because I go in there knowing that I don't know anything. Now, I know how to drop people into hypnosis. I know how to get them in a trance, and I know how to listen for their language. But the point is that each person's specific problem, or each person's individual problem, is specific to them, which means that in their own world or in their own reality, they're creating their own troubles and their own problem, which means that they're the only ones that realistically know how to get themselves out of it. They just don't know. They need to be able to project it outwards and have someone hear it, so that way they can feed it back to them. Now, the problem when it gets into helping with other people is whenever they tell us a problem and we think we know what it means. And then, hey, Ronnie, will you speak up just for a second so I can see you again?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool. Sorry. Basically, a person's, whatever's wrong with them, it's because whatever loop that they've got in their reality, they're creating these own issues. They're going to have to struggle through them until they figure them out. The problem is whenever we have other people that have issues, and then we think back to ourselves and we say, oh, okay, well, this is how you fix yourself. This is how you do what I did, or this is how you do what other people do in order to fix your problem. If you ask people and you just dig a little bit and you let them talk, they will tell you everything that they need. And sometimes they might need to be coaxed. And I'm sure you did that. So basically, is what you're looking for all of her triggers. Well, whenever I take a look,
I'm looking for all of what? I'm sorry?
All of her triggers, all of her emotional hot words, where does her mind go? Whether it's visual, or whether she hears a sound or voices in her head, or whether she isn't aware of anything and she just feels feelings. So you need to figure out, what triggers her, what makes her want to eat, why she's afraid of eating, why she thinks she's gaining weight, why she wants to lose weight. All these things figure out everything about what it is that is how she's creating her problem. And then listen for the gaps where she doesn't make sense to you. And then through hypnosis, drop her down and then close those gaps. Now, if you go through and you consciously try to explain something to someone, they're going to consciously say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then they're going to untie the knot that you tied to fix them up. They're going to untie the suture. It's just how it is. That's the whole purpose of hypnosis. That's the only reason for therapeutic hypnosis, is to shut that conscious mind up. Have you ever had a friend that had an issue and you said, hey, they were telling you, I got this problem and this problem and this problem. You say, listen, if you did this and this, you'd be able to fix it, right? And they go, yeah, I know, but. Yeah, I know, but. Or, yeah, I can, but. Right? No, they're not listening to you. You've efficiently or effectively had them not hear you. So with hypnosis, is what we want to do is we want to have them close their eyes, and we want to have their brains go into a theta wave. So that way they're not consciously thinking about things. If you give someone a suggestion that says, you're going to pull a gun out, you're going to stick it to your neighbor's head and pull the trigger, inside their mind is going to go, red flag. No, that doesn't make sense. Okay. Now you have to be careful with things like this, because if they're in alignment with that in any way, they're going to say, okay, that could make sense. And that's what you're looking for, is the suggestions that you give are going to be ultimately positive. So there's going to be no resistance. They'll go in. You know you've done effective change work when you've actively and effectively or efficiently listened to someone. You found out where they're drawing their picture and where they're drawing their problems. And then if you feed their problems back to them and the solutions in hypnosis, and then a week or two later they go, yeah, I don't know, I don't think it's a problem anymore. Effective hypnosis, you don't get credit for. Effective hypnosis goes in and you forget that you've ever even had the problems. Have you ever had something that you used to deal with you dealt with it so strongly and now it's no longer a big deal anymore? We don't need to hold on to pain or problem states unless they either motivate us away from pain or towards pleasure. If you release something emotional or whatever it might be and you've learned your lesson, you let it go. So there's a lot of times, I dealt with a woman just about a week or so ago, and she told me she'd had a deep eating disorder since she was younger. I went through and she'd worked with someone else and they had gone through and told her, all right, this is why you're doing this. And she spent her whole time trying to figure out why she was this way. She spent this whole time going over and over and over her problem. I had to erase those or pretty much get her to put those on the side burner. Let's start fresh. And then basically she was such a picky eater that she wasn't getting the nutrition or the health, and it was affecting her socially and romantically everywhere in all areas of her life. Where it used to be able to get her what she wanted, kind of love and attention, it now created problems and issues and resistance in her life, right? But she was so inundated with her habits and her patterns of eating, she couldn't pull herself out of it. I dropped her down. I knew that if I told her anything consciously, her personality was going to be like, yeah, I know, but, well, because she wanted to overanalyze. She just needed to know. People need to know and they want to be able to fix their problems. There's a hesitance to say, all right, when you close your eyes, I snap my fingers, all your problems are gone, and open your eyes. Oh, yeah, right. But they don't realize that they've been stacking these habits and these patterns up for so long that when you go in there, you just reorganize them for them. You put their ducks in a row, and then things just start to make sense. In their head, they'll say, oh, well, I've known this all along. And it's because they have known this all along. They've been telling themselves, they just haven't been listening. You aren't, the only thing that you are as a hypnotist is an authority. When you go in there, you tell them, this is the way things are, and this is why the way things are. And without them consciously overthinking them, their 2-year-old could teach them a lesson if they would listen. The only thing you need to get people to do is listen to you. So if this is a family member that doesn't quite give in to your authority, then it could cause some restriction or some restriction. But the point is that if you can get her listening because you've started to isolate the things that you've listened to her, people like themselves. So when you start repeating her words back to her, echo technique, she's going to start to feel heard. And then it doesn't matter who you are, if you're giving her all of her information back about her, she's going to start to learn and be invested. Have her close her eyes. If you can drop her into a nice deep state, I mean, this comes into your skill set. You need to be able to drop someone into a nice deep state of trance, especially if they're resistant to you. The more resistant, the deeper they got to go, right? And then at that point, if you give the suggestions and they're good suggestions and they're in alignment, then they might go in so seamlessly and so effortlessly that whatever they think about it, they think, but most people, unless they're so tied to their problem, a lot of times they've got these problems, but they're not even really associated to them. In their head, they know they've got a problem, but they don't think about it every single day. Well, if I would just stop eating, they think, oh, this time is okay. This time's okay. I don't have a problem. I've got a weight problem. They don't really associate to their problems. So if you have a good follow-up of where she was at the beginning and just for your own measurement, where she's at afterwards, then in her eyes and her mind, she may have not had a huge change. But follow up with her in a month, 2 months, and then see where she's at, right? Oh, yeah, I used to have that problem, but I don't anymore. Give it a little bit of time. Fair? Okay.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's really helpful. In fact, it's been time right now, but just because you told me, now I have the urge and need to find out what happened to her. Yeah, so thanks. Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So real quick, we have a lot of people with questions. I got a few private messages. So just raise your hand right now, if like physically raise your hand if you have a question on your mind you would like to ask. Okay, so I know Anastasia has a question, so she can go first. Tamara, then Marvin, then we'll just leave it open there, and then Krishna. So we'll start with Anastasia. Can you speak? You have your mic on?
Yes, I can speak. Hello.
Hi, this is Anastasia.
Yes, hi.
Hi,
Yes,
Anastasia.
hi. So I have a question. I did my first free online training that was lasting for 4 days to people. There were 70 people being live.
Okay.
And they really much, lots of people want to participate in my next, how to say this? When you pay for the training, how do you call it? Free training, and when you pay for this?
Like a seminar?
Yes, so they want to participate in my online program that will last for 1 month, but lots of people have financial issues. They say that they cannot afford it because the prices start from $300 up to $500.
Okay.
But they really want very much to participate. So next week on Monday, I'm going to go live where I'm going to hypnotize them, and they know about this, in order for them to be able to join my seminar.
Okay.
So do you have any suggestions how I can make them come to my seminar?
Sure. So the seminar that you're hosting, what is that going to be? Can I know the topic?
Yes, it's going to be, first module will be about clearing limiting beliefs.
Okay.
Second module will be about connecting yourself to infinite mind. And third module will be about becoming unshakable with your family members.
Okay. All right. So there is no such thing as people not having money. People have money. If they make $200 a month and that's the only money that they have for the whole month, they still have $200. When it comes to people not having money, what they're really saying is either one, there's not enough value, or two, it's not in their budget. So you have to help them realize the value that you're offering, and that it's not a matter of having the money, it's just a matter of budget, right? So you want to create this value so extreme that they couldn't go on another day without having it, right? Which means that you've got some good stuff. Clearing limiting beliefs, the infinite mind, what was it, unshakable with family?
Yes.
So these are all excellent points, and they're all power packed. You've got so much in there that people can use on, just a small portion of that would be extremely valuable and extremely beneficial. It really comes down to, again, being able to communicate. And, I'm a firm believer in giving people things for free, because the more value you give, the more people don't want to pay for things. They don't want to pay for the first thing. They don't want to pay for the second thing. But here's the thing is, if you give people an item for free, you've got this little law of reciprocity. They're going to want to feel on some form or fashion. It's just inherent within our nature. But the point is not to give people something with expecting them to come back. It's to be able to have a mindset around money or around value, that you're always giving value away, and people will always be coming back to you. If you only try to give value enough to get enough back, people will only come to you for what you can immediately offer them. But if you go through and you provide so much value and you give so much, then they're going to be attracted, because they know that they could go pay for it anywhere else, but you're giving it away for free. Once people start investing in you, there's a certain amount of loyalty, and there's a certain amount of, you're tried, trusted, and true. Okay. So if you want people to get hooked up on them, give a small seminar, something like this, where you're going through and you're just giving away free value. If they find it interesting enough, then you can let them know that if you really found this valuable, there will be even more life-changing information that will only be discussed. That's why this is the price it is. So that way I can give you the time, the energy, and the effort that you need, and focus in on you. So that way not every Tom, Dick, and Nancy is coming in here for $10. The reason why I price my prices so high is because not only is my content valuable, but it's something that, it's a limited resource. Also, this is going to start getting into sales, but if you let people know that something is at a higher cost, and then you bring it down for them to a lower cost, in their mind, no matter what you say, whether it's $10 or $100, the very first time you bring up money, they're going to have I don't know if I want to spend money. You know, with the coronavirus or with today's economy or whatever it is, there's so many reasons not to spend money. But realistically, you spend money every day. You can't help but give that stuff away. Money is useless to you sitting on your kitchen table. You take it and you spend it for gas, you spend it for food, you spend it for pleasure, you spend it for pain, you know, massages, whatever it is that you spend your money on all day, every day. You're just giving money away. People are giving that money away. You need to give them a reason that they want to give it to you. And you do that by offering so much value, but also you can elicit why they want this in their life. So when you hop on this call with them, you need to go through and you need to find out from the people. So I would host a call or a seminar, you know, for those who aren't financially ready at this point, hop on this call. We're going to go through and get you in alignment. You know, basically, you're going to want to elicit their reasons why they want to be on that call. Why is it that you want to be here now? What is it? What change is it going to make in your life? And then listen, and they're going to tell you, and they're going to give you emotionally triggering words, emotionally triggering thoughts and feelings that are going to, as soon as you give it back to them, is going to hypnotically program it right into their mind that this is what they want and need, mixed with that suggestion that this is what they want and need. Right now, you haven't tapped into why they want this call. You've just tapped into the reason not to. You need to tap into the reason why they want the call, each person, and then in a hypnotic, you know, in a group hypnosis or in an individual hypnosis, however you want to do it, go through and say, and then you can already see in the future how being able to have clearing your limiting beliefs, stepping into your infinite mind, and being able to be unshakable with family can give you specific criteria to meet their overall value for why they even want to spend the money in the first place. Once you do that, they will have no reason not to. It would be stupid for them not to, because you're going to be giving them something that is inherently valuable to them. Does that make sense?
Yes, well, I did with them 3 days where I was putting them into hypnosis, exactly with clearing their limiting beliefs. Yes, the second day I connected them to the infinite mind. And on the third day, I also made them unshakable with family members. And they got really big results in their life. They were all thanking me, saying that they got healed, that some traumas were cleared as well. And they realized what they can achieve. They felt themselves powerful, desirable in that state. They got embodied this. But they're really like, they're calling me and saying, how can we participate if this coronavirus is right now? For example, somebody is masseuse, people are not coming to them to pay them money. And so they don't want to spend the last money that they're spending on food. So what I'm planning to do is to put them into hypnosis where they're going to imagine that they are already being present on this seminar, and where they see what is happening, what is coming, what is getting attracted into their life while they're attending my seminar. So I think that this maybe might work. What do you think?
It might be your what? It might be your what?
I think that this might work when they feel that they're already at the seminar, that they're already getting results from the seminar and how their life is becoming then, that because of this focus in their life, maybe money will get attracted into their life in order to get to that seminar.
Absolutely. So anytime that you do anything like that, you want to future pace them so that way they can visualize how your services are going to be beneficial to them and what changes that they're going to make. But that might not be enough of motivating force. People are either motivated away from pain and towards pleasure, or towards pleasure and away from pain. So what you said is your idea of how to be able to answer your own question, and that's really good. But is what I'm telling you is, if you want them to bypass the whole environmental or money situation right now, so there's two things. One, you have to realize, is what you're giving them ecologically good? Is it is it ecological? Right? Basically, do they need your services right now, or do they need bread? Do they need the food, or are they just imagining that with the coronavirus that everything is more limited than what it is? So again, if this is the objection that they're giving you, that listen, I don't have money right now, but I want to, then maybe you should say, you know, I can understand that everyone's in a, you know, a hard spot financially right now, let's go ahead and schedule this for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks if you really want to be able to give them the opportunity. Now, if you want to convince them to act now or to take action now, then you have to make sure you have to build the value up. It's not about solving what they think is the problem. It's about linking you have to link their value to your product, and then it will become invaluable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can handle objections all day and night long, but what most people say and what most people think aren't what they need to hear in order to be able to get them to move forward. A lot of times you have to step into, this is where being the hypnotist is, and you have to step into your own frame set, and you have to guide them and keep them in that frame of mind, which is, listen, it's not about money and it's not about limited resources. Right now it's about mindset. By the time that we're done, we're going to give you the vaccine to the coronavirus, because the vaccine to a coronavirus is a healthy mind and a healthy body. Understanding these principles will allow you to make more money in this time when everyone else is afraid and limited by fear. If you want to be afraid and limited by fear, then you're going to contract the coronavirus, and it's going to affect you financially. But if you want to be the unstoppable force in this time of need, then these are exactly the points of clearing limiting beliefs, your infinite mind, and being unshakable family that are going to allow you to succeed when everyone else is recessing.
Okay, great. I understood. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Anastasia. All right, Tamara.
I will do it.
Hi there. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So I have kind of a 2-question that you can just answer as you feel is appropriate. But the first part is, I work exclusively with female entrepreneurs. And I've been doing hypnotherapy and EFT for close to 20 years now, but I've recently really narrowed it down to women who are entrepreneurs who want to expand their businesses. And I have found over all of these years that usually, I know you were talking to Ronnie about specific events and triggers, but my women, it's always self-limiting, like they don't think they're good enough. So I was wondering, because I haven't had the success with them that I would like, I know I can do better. So I was wondering what kind of, technique or language you would use in the actual hypnotherapy to help them overcome this self-limiting, I'm not good enough belief. And then the second part of that question is, how do you feel about doing that in a small group? Because traumas are different, but it's all the same belief. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this.
Right. So I still stand firm by, I have no idea how to fix anyone. So each and every single person that that I work with, I find out what's going on. I go in there with an extremely blank slate. Tamara, will you say something so I can see you on my screen?
Hi, I'm right here.
All right, there you go. Okay. All right. So basically, each and every single person, they've got so many problems, and people have so many ideas of what they think is wrong with them, or what they've been told, or a lot of times I want to hear what they're saying in between. I want to see where their blind spots are, where they're gapping information. So what was it? People that they feel like they're not good enough, right? Or women that feel like they're not good enough. Everything in their life, this is a repeated cycle. It's a repeated thought. Oh, I'm not good enough for this or this or this. This is why they're thinking these. People are always going to be triggered, and I understand this. And I work with people in a very small amount of time to try to get them the maximum amount of change that they can. Because I know that as powerful as people feel when they leave, you forget how powerful this stuff is. If everyone remembered every day how powerful meditation and mindfulness is, they would be doing it every single second. It's just so passive and easy that we forget. That being said, I listen to people. I say, what's your problem? And they go, well, I'm not good enough for anyone. Oh, okay. Why aren't you good enough for anyone? Well, don't you? No, I don't know. Tell me. Well, because my boyfriend looks at me this way, or because people don't respect me as a female entrepreneur, or I always think that there's someone better than me at what I do. Okay. Well, are there people that are better at you than what you do? Well, yeah. So then what makes you special? Oh, well, I mean, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Okay. All right. So when you do this, you do this, you do this, that sets you apart, right? Okay. And then we both know that it's not really helpful to compare yourself to others, because there will always be someone that's better than you, correct? Yes. All right. So going through and challenging, not necessarily consciously challenging them, but I want to find out where their ideas in their head aren't resourceful, where they're not beneficial. And then once I found in a certain area where a person is creating all of their their problems. And then I think in my own head, all right, if they did this and they did this and they did this and this, would this fix their problems? Yes. Okay. Then I go through and in trance, I give it back to them. That way they can't consciously untie it or unwind it, right? That being said, that's what gives me my meat, my potatoes of my hypnosis, okay? Once I figure out what the problem is, I listen for trigger words, emotional hot words, tonality spikes, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, and I listen for their deep-rooted neurological ties to whatever it is that they believe or think in. At that point, I go through, once I've got all that information, I have to work really hard not to explain this to people, because I get into the point where I'm like, I want you to know why you're doing this the way you're doing it, and I have to remember that when I do that, I'm not doing them any favors. I'm actually, I'm giving them more reasons to go, oh, well, this is why I am the way I am. It's not for them to know.
Right.
I have to shut up and I have to say, okay, and they have to go into this like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then I shut them, I drop them down. And then you can see when you're giving the words back to them and you're hitting, no longer will you be, I always try to frame it in positives. Obviously, I don't want to go through, no longer are you going to be stuck thinking that you're not good enough. No longer are you, I go through, from this moment forward, you can feel empowered. And then I start having them, you were asking for techniques. So I use about 4 or 5 techniques on every single hypnosis session because I feel like they cover a wide range. One is I locate their emotional triggers and responses, their own words, because their words are what's going to tie directly into their neurology. You've heard of mirroring and matching, echoing? You're familiar with it? Okay, all right. That being said, once I know that I've got a deep tie into their deep-rooted problems and their solutions also, I go through and I drop them down, and I want to make sure that they're comfortable. So I always do a little bit of visualization. I have them step into it, feel it, hear it, see it, fully associate. Once I know that, I've got the spiegel and I've got them fully, I can go through and I can lift up their hand and they're just in it. Then I go through, and a lot of times I don't even have to test because I just roll right into it. I start talking to them about what their problem is. And as soon as I do that, it goes right in, and they're already deep. They go so deep. At that point, I start giving them positive suggestion, and they're pretty much blanket. I'm just repeating back to them what I think is the solution. It doesn't have to be special. And then also going through and kind of reframing all the problem areas that they used to think that they had, or up to this point. Obviously, I'm using the language. I have them start visualizing the future, the best version of them. I have them see that best version of them 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and I have them take a snapshot of that picture. Once I have them take a snapshot of that picture, I draw their awareness to every single aspect of that picture. What clothes they're wearing, where they're located, what the color of the sky is, what the house is in the background, who the people are around them. And then every single person, every single item in that picture, I have them associate to whatever success that means, whatever reason that those items are in that picture for. So I've got future projection, timeline, I'm having them step in, associate. And then at a certain point, I have them go through, and if I realize that they have a lot of blockages, I always have them become aware of the feelings in their body, of where these blockages are. And then that has them locate it, right? Once they've located it, I have them give it a color. Once they've given it a color, what do you call it, synesthesia, then they can visually, if, some people have a hard time visualizing, right? Some people are more kinesthetic. Once they've mixed that synesthesia or that visualization with the kinesthetic feeling, they now have a double point to anchor onto that. I slap a label on it, and then it ties it into hearing. And so now I've got 3 forms of representation, or 3 representation systems that are tied into, on this side, their problem. And in a minute, I'm going to tie it to a blissful, cleansing, healing color. And I'm going to let them choose these colors. And I'm going to let them become aware of it, where it's at in their body. So usually, you might like to say, you can see a nice black color on this pane, but sometimes people's favorite color is black, and black doesn't mean to them what it means to you. So again, I don't know anything about you. I use all of your words and your information. I just know how to ask the right question.
Okay.
That being said, once they've located all the pain and all the blockage and the restriction in their body, I have them physically activate with their body, with their eyes closed, pull out that color. I have them throw it into a trash can that's on fire. So that way they know that when they're throwing it in there, they're getting rid of it. It's going to be gone. And then I tell them to make sure that they're wearing their gloves, because you don't want any of that on their hand. And I have them pull it out. And some people will pull it out for 5, 10 minutes. They'll just keep ripping it out. but they're psychologically, through their neurology, they're processing this. And then once I let them know, once you're done, I want you to throw the rest of it in there, take off your gloves. This signifies that they're done, finished with it. They're not touching anymore. Put the lid on that fire, make that trash can small, dark, let it, throw it behind you, let it disappear into the dark. And then now we're gone with the problem. We've just, in their neurology, gone through and removed the problems and the thoughts, the thought process, right? And then I have them go through there and visualize that future version of themselves that's the best version. And I want them to see and feel, take a nice deep breath in, absorb that picture, give it a color, feel what it feels like to you. Feel the feelings in your body. Is it confidence? Is it excitement? Is it success? Whatever it might be, obviously it's going to be connected to whatever they feel. Once they feel that feeling and then they link it to that color, I have them take a nice deep breath in, really absorb it. Feel the air, fill their lungs, feel that color spread throughout your body until you know it's so dense, and notice which way it's spinning. Notice the energy. Once you do that, people start really getting associated with this. And now I want you to know, then I'll start doing swish patterns with that picture. I'll have them go through there, and any time in the future that you come up with what would be an old trigger, I have them start picturing or having that picture, that swish up, associating that feeling. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. And then at that point, usually for my sessions, I use synesthesia, timeline, future projection, swish. I think those are the four main ones.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, really great. I love the trash can metaphor, and I haven't used swishing. I know swishing, but I haven't used it, so that's really great. So then to just finalize this, how do you feel if it's a small group, like 3 to 6 people? Do you feel that I could create just a generic, if you will, that would deal with
metaphors speak to people in their own language. You don't
Okay.
have to know. So if you go through, I've got one that a friend that likes to do, and it's pretty powerful. But it's 2 paths. One path is your current way of life, and the other path is your future of what you want it to be. I always tell people that there's an inner guide, an inner wisdom inside of them that's always been looking out for them. Been helping. It's been there from the moment that they were born, from the moment that they were young and their hand pulled away from a fire. There was someone, something that's always been looking out for you, helping you make decisions in every form of life. Life isn't fair, life isn't easy, but there's always been someone there looking out for you. That means that right now you are the best version of yourself. That's a general, this person, then you can start creating it. As long as you've got their attention, go through and then you know in your life which areas that you need to work on or which areas that are troubling you. And knowing now that from this moment forward, you've got all the potential in you that you need. The bigger, the more general, the more you can speak to them. If you come up with a good metaphor, it just depends on how similar that group's problems are and if you can really tie a story into it.
Right. Great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tamara. Is it Marvin? Marianne? Hi, Krishna.
It's
I'm back after a long time of after 2 months. I just want one part of the question for the Taylor. How can I view all the sessions which are have been going on from these 2 months? Okay, that is one part of the question.
Okay.
And for the guest, I just want to ask how to deal the therapy with for kids. For example, a hyperactive kid.
Okay. So first part of the question, there are a lot of them on YouTube. Not every single recording gets recorded and put on YouTube. This one will be, and there are a lot on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. The second part of the question was hypnotizing kids, hyperactive kids. Kids are easy to hypnotize. A lot of hypnotists think that they're harder to hypnotize. One thing with hypnotizing kids is always get parent permission. Never hypnotize a kid without parent permission, because if you have that one parent who has had a bad experience with hypnosis and finds out you hypnotize their kid, it could be really fucking bad for you. So always get parent permission. But when you're hypnotizing a kid and their parents said, yes, you can hypnotize them, have them take deep breaths. Their lungs are so fucking small. Have them take deep breaths. They will feel relaxed really fucking quick. And you can just go from there like any other process. Good questions, dude. I'm going to let Marvin ask Everest a question now. And if you have any other questions, just raise your hand. And actually, real quick, before Marvin asks, raise your hand if you have a question you would like to ask. I know there's a few people who have been here the entire time who have not asked a question, like Paula, Naza, Bradley as well. So let's actually start with Paula, because I remember she's been here since the start.
All right, so I know that earlier you said Anastasia, Tamara, Marvin, then Krishna. So I think Marvin's been waiting. Other than that, I'm here as long as you guys want me to, so I'm more than happy to stay a little bit longer and answer any questions that you guys got.
Awesome, and let's try and get every single person here asking you a question, so we can do like rapid fire questions.
Yeah, you want me to speed it up a little bit?
Yeah. Let's.
All right.
Okay, so Marvin, we'll start with you, man, and then we'll go to Paula.
Thanks. What's your motivation in doing hypnosis? I'm sorry. I saw your background. You know, you work mostly with vets with their PTSD. So what kind of pushed you into helping these people?
Gotcha. All right, so I don't work with vets as much. I do work with vets, but a lot of times with vets, they've got what's called a secondary gain. Secondary gain is whenever you've got a problem that you have for yourself, but you've got some sort of win from it. So the example I like to use is the kid that screams and cries real loud, and the parent comes over and slaps them and then says, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey, I'm sorry," and gives the kid love. The kid screams and cries knowing he's going to get slapped, knowing he's going to get the love. So there's a secondary gain. A lot of times with vets, PTSD I mean, to think that one mental illness is stronger than another, everyone's just on a scale. You're working within, we'll get into that later. Anyways, my motivation it's just a personal passion. I was in the military. Whenever I got out of the military, I was looking for financial independence, and so I started coaching. I'd always had words of wisdom to share with people, but my communication was never strong. No one would ever listen. And so it really started out with me wanting people to be able to learn how to communicate with people. And slowly but surely, I started working on my communication skills. That's how I got introduced to NLP. I started coaching and consulting, and then I started realizing to put my passion in with my life experiences, which is where working with veterans came up, because I have a personal insight, a personal viewpoint of veterans, because I've lived that life and I know what they're struggling and dealing with. And then on the other side, I've also pulled myself out of that. And on the other hand, I know all of this energetic, mind over matter principles that most people outside of West Coast, or other areas of the world don't necessarily understand. So really, it's just being able to have a purpose in life, to be able to pass on something that's that I'm passionate about, that's also purposeful and creates change in the world in whatever small amount that I can. That being said, I have a real passion now because I'm good at what I do, and I've learned how to communicate to people's subconscious in ways that most people don't even know how to communicate to face to face. So it really comes up to, it's a skill set and it's an art that I'm crafting. The more and more I learn, the more and more I know, the bigger and the stronger my capabilities are. The more that I'm able to grow, the more I can help others grow. So I have got goals and aspirations that I strive to teach, and they're in the future. And once I get to that, the waves of people that I will be able to affect, or to be able to, in a sense, help or to move humanity forward, is my own personal spiritual purpose and goal, passion.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely, Marvin. Thanks. All right, Paula.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I have a few questions.
Okay.
And I changed my question right now with the first one. Okay. Could you give me a suggestion how to switch my frequency when people meet me? Most of my surrounding is a man, and they meet me, they look at me as a woman, and they suggest me some stuff instead of what I can give, like as a therapist. So how to change the point of me, like how to vibrate that I am professional as a hypnotist, not as a woman which are attracting men. Like I am a professional specialist, not a woman.
Gotcha. Okay, so in any communication, in any interaction, there's a frame set. There's a frame, okay? Are you familiar with frames?
Like, yes.
Yeah, right. So this is a mental structure. It's a mental frame. It's why you are having the conversation that you're having. So let's go back to dating just for a second. Normal men and women interaction, okay? Outside of your problem or outside of your therapy. When a man talks to a woman, depending on what's going on in his head or her head, they have some sort of desire or purpose. A lot of times men don't know what their purpose or the desire is. They've got what women say is one thing on their mind, right? Now, it's not always as simple as that, but a lot of times there's one focus for men, okay? And inherently, they don't know how to control it. It's just kind of, it's within their nature to see every woman or every person as an opportunity, okay? That being said, even when they come up, let's say that a man was to come up and talk to you, or a woman in general, they would try to establish some sort of communication, some sort of back and forth, but they may not know why they want to communicate to you. And that's the point where I say they don't really know why they're there. They just know that they're putting themselves in that situation, right? So if you have clients that are coming in and they're not focused on why they're there, which is the therapy, and they're focused on you as a woman, then that's not the right frame set. That's not the right frame of mind that they should be in, okay? So if you are taking on new clients, maybe you might want to go through a qualification before you actually take them on as a client. Say, listen, I'm here to be able to help you get past whatever therapy, and that's the only reason. Maybe just set up a little bit of pre-induction talk or pre-talk that lets them know, these are my standards, this is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept, okay? And it might just be that you have to put on a no crude or sexual language or whatever it might be, just a little small bullet point or just a small disclaimer that lets them know where your frame of mind is, okay? Now, that being said, your communication is, whoever, in any conversation, there's always going to be a frame, right? It's the frame of that communication. So the person who forgets the frame is not in control. The person that remembers the frame is the one that's in control. So if someone says a remark to you and it's less than therapeutic or it's less than, you know, desirable, then you can reframe that as a way to, you know, is this something that you need help in therapy? Is dealing with women or whatever? I mean, I can't give you specifics because obviously I don't know what they're saying specifically. But if you hold the frame, and if you want to put a disclaimer before you ever even enter into that relationship that lets them know your standards or what you expect, your expectations. And then at the same time, I've got plenty of female friends that are therapists that they deal with the same thing. They come up to me and they say, listen, is it my voice? Because men they're just, you know, they're reacting in ways I don't want them to react. And unfortunately, you know, yes.
You know who Forbes Riley is, Everest?
That sounds familiar. Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So Forbes Riley, she's one of the speakers for Hypnotist Secrets Live, so you'll meet her.
Okay.
But do you know who Grant Cardone is?
Yeah.
So he hosts the biggest business conference every single year, GrowthCon. You guys probably heard of it. He has like 50,000 people come out, sit in the stadium, and he has like billionaires come up and speak. And Forbes Riley was invited out to, I believe, the second or third GrowthCon. So that's the first time I saw her. And no woman I have ever met holds her frame better than Forbes Riley. Like she was the only, to this day, the only true alpha woman I have ever met. And you may be thinking like you know a ton, but you haven't met her yet. Okay. So I was just thinking, because I think the best way, because I can like go on for hours and tell you what she does. I think the best would be for you to listen to her. So I'm going to give her a call and I'm going to have her come on as a guest speaker. Keep in mind, she is not a hypnotist. She does NLP and she is a hypnotist, but she doesn't identify as a hypnotist. So it'll be a different type of call, but yeah, she's going to be on here. And I recommend everyone looking her up, Forbes Riley. Like everything she does is so intentional. Her name is Francine, born Francine. She changed her name to Forbes. Why do you think that is? What do you think of when you hear Forbes?
Yeah, Forbes definitely has a lot of authority.
Oh yeah, she put that in her name. So from the start of the interaction, I'm Forbes Riley. Forbes is in the magazine. And she associates herself with a really high standard. Anyway, that's just a little bit of the details.
I think that's an excellent point. I mean, if you assume that personality, if you assume those characteristics of a woman with a strong frame, with a strong sense of confidence, with a strong whatever it is that you want, then eventually you will stop having people respond to you to your old self, and they'll start responding to your new self.
Yeah, awesome.
So I had an experience as I tried to say to people that I'm not interested in having a relationship, so are you still interested in what I do? Like I'm a therapist. And then they start speaking about them lovers, but they are interested in me as a friend who can give them advice, not a therapist, like for free advice. So
that's stepping into their frame. If you accept them for a second, if you say, listen, I'm not a, the moment that you give into their frame, you're now in their frame of conversation. It's untolerated, not accepted. Anyways, that being said, let them go. They're not your clients. The right clients won't, you're having to learn this lesson for yourself, because these aren't the right clients. You don't want friends. You don't want men who are interested in you in anything other than a therapeutic purpose. So you need to make sure that you qualify them before you start taking them. And that will set authority and precedence for yourself too.
okay.
But you have to be able to not come from a place of scarcity, but come from a place of abundance, where you're saying, listen, I'm sorry, you don't meet my standards for a client. I can't help you. I'd love to refer you to someone else who can. And at that point they say, well, no, I really need help. Say, okay, these are the stipulations. These are the regulations that we're going to follow. These are the guidelines if you want to enter into a therapy session with me.
Okay, because I wanted to help them. I helped today for one man, and I talked with him half an hour on the phone, and I thought, oh my God, it's like it was a session. And after that, he said, oh, you really switched my mind, and it helped me. And right now, I feel very nice, comfortable about my relation with that girl, something like. And I thought, okay, what the fuck has happened? Like, I help people, but I cannot make it like appointment for payment, like not for free, you know.
Well, as I said at the beginning of the phone call, is a lot of times, you know, it's you're learning from people. As much as you want to start charging people immediately and right away, you're still learning from them. You're still building up your confidence and your knowledge base. And at a certain point, once you know exactly how to help people or deal with their needs, then you can confidently go in there and say, listen, we'll sit down, schedule a session, you know, $200 off the bat, and we'll fix your problem. But right now, if you're going in there and you're trying to explore and you're thinking, well, we'll see what we can do, or maybe if you hop on a call, then that's communication, or that's language that's being communicated through your physiology and through your words.
Okay.
But if you start setting up your standards, and don't be afraid to give people sessions away for free, because essentially is what they're doing is, if you change the frame of mind, they're giving you opportunities for you to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You're not charging them for money. You're allowing them to give you information and experience. So that way, later on, you can be the best version of you to be able to handle any situation. Because inherently, people don't want to pay to help themselves. It's not on top of their priorities. People's self-help and their, you know, their mental health is not on the top front of their mind. People don't even know it's a thing a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate, but does that answer your question?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I need to practice on it still, because I time by time help my people, actually, like not friends, but some people who ask me help, and I sometimes spend 5 hours with them, sometimes half an hour, sometimes only 10 minutes. But
okay, so that's a good point. You need to have your personal standards, your personal boundaries. You need to figure out where your standards and your boundaries lie, and then you don't let people cross them. Because until you figure those out for yourself, no one else is going to know about them. This is extremely important for you. You need to come up with your own set of guidelines and boundaries that you don't want people to pass. You don't want people to, does that make sense? So if you, let's say that under normal circumstances, if you were to charge a person for a session, how long would you charge them for? 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours?
1, 2.
1, 2? Okay, well, come up with a standard. Because is 2 hours going to be worth your time now or in the future?
1 hour would be nice, like 1 hour.
Okay,
session.
so that's your goal. That's your guideline. That's your standard. You know that you can stretch it a little bit. My standard is 1 hour. I almost always am more than willing to give people plenty of time, and I will keep going for, you know, I've been on the phone call for 2-3 hours and not even realize the time's gone by, because I'm trying to give them help. But those same people, I've realized, they don't respect me as much, and I'm just trying to give them help. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with it because I learned a lot. But when you have standards for yourself and you say, all right, this is the time frame that we have, this is what we're going to squeeze in. I'm the one running the show, and we're going to see what we can get done. If we can't, then you're going to charge them for another session, because the amount of problems that people have can't be fixed in one session. And it's not your responsibility to go on for 2 or 3 sessions or 3 hours just in order to try to get them one form of change, right? So essentially, you're going to have to come up with your own boundaries, your own guidelines, and know that these are areas that you will not allow to be crossed. Okay, and then you need to hold people accountable to your guidelines or your standards. Because if you don't have them for yourself, other people can't respect them. So if you're upset with other people for not respecting your boundaries, then you have to realize that you have to set them first and let them know what they are.
Okay. What do you think from our conversation? Do I send any message, wrong message for men?
No, I think that you are a very sweet and probably submissive woman. Am I correct?
What does it mean, that submissive?
So as Tyler was talking about ago with Forbes Riley and her being a very alpha woman,
Yes.
what is the label alpha woman mean to you?
She's like a man, very strong.
Okay. So what is being like a man? What is that like? What is being strong like? Does that mean that she can go into the gym and she can lift 300 pounds? Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that she can lift 300 pounds?
Not weight, but she can handle mental thing. And somebody shout on her, she can control how people speak.
Okay. Do you feel like you are like that?
No.
No. Okay. So the opposite of that is what you're communicating to men. If a man thinks that he can come in and he can shout and you'll respond, then that's going to be a little bit more submissive. Okay. If you step in there and you tell a man exactly how he's going to act, that's alpha. All right. So do you feel like when you are the authority, you're the therapist, okay? Which means that whenever they step into your office and they're paying you money, it's your rules. You set the standards and you set the guidelines. If you go in there and you allow them to say, oh, honey, you're so sweet, or you're whatever they say, and you say, I'm not here for relationships, I'm here for therapy, they've already crossed your boundary. They've already crossed your guidelines or your standards. They shouldn't have ever even been able to step into the mindset or the frame of mind that they can cross those boundaries with you. That's what's being communicated, is that in a submissive, your boundaries aren't firm. That's what's being communicated. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like,
if that
that's what you want to
communicate. You kick them out. Like if that happens with a client, you kick them out, because that's making it real for you and real for them.
Don't be afraid to kick them out.
First, I need to.
But essentially, this is where it comes up with qualification, is you want to qualify them before you ever even get them in there. You don't want to qualify someone in the office. You want to let them know beforehand, I'm here for therapy and therapy only.
Okay.
That will communicate, and you won't even have that problem anymore. Okay, next person. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Brad,
I can't see the screen, so it's up to Tyler to. I was gonna say I don't know who's next. I was only going off of your.
Hey, it's Brad here.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, how you going, man? If someone has some sort of like a chemical challenge in their brain, can hypnosis override that? Have you experienced that in your life before?
So I'm a firm believer of mind over matter. I'm a firm believer that our thoughts control every aspect of our physiology. Now, the safe answer is that if someone has a medical etiology, you don't want to touch that, because in today's day and age, they will hold you to the fire if you go through and try to fix mental illnesses or you try to be a doctor. So you have to be very careful with the way that you approach things and the way that you heal people, in a sense, or the way that you work with people. Now, if you've got a cough and your schizophrenia goes away and I was working on your cough, then oops, I was working on the cough, right? If you know how to get past things, then by all means give people, but just be careful, because when you start getting into labels and you start trying to work with people's chemical imbalances, then you're not a doctor, you can't label, and you can't diagnose things. That being said, on a personal level, to answer your question, absolutely. If you start looking into, depending on how much you know about hypnosis, you can control things like blood pressure, or I had this woman who came up to me and she's got, I've got a pain in my body, this pain in my back. I've had it for years and years. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? She's like, can you take it away from me? And I remember thinking, okay. Close your eyes, went through, dropped her down, did some synesthesia, had her locate the feelings in our body, brought her back up, and the pain was all gone, right? These are physiological responses that are reacting to the way that you think and process things in your mind, which means that maybe your chemical imbalance is stimulating from some sort of thoughts or beliefs that you're already having. So if you correct the original root issue, whatever, then you can go through and fix that chemical imbalance. And it might just be the thought or the belief that you have a chemical imbalance, which creates the problem. Thinking, oh, I am the way that this way is, I'm manifesting that. You know, you've got people who are loved ones. One person dies and the other person dies shortly after, right? They've lost their will to live. They held on for so long. The thought of thinking, I've no longer got anything to live for, is what will allows their body to die off. They just, right? You've got the power to not live if you want. Don't you think, you know, religion and prophets and all miracles set aside, don't you think that you've got the power to heal yourself? If you start, I mean, I can go into energetic principles, I can go into religious principles, I can go into physiological, I could go on all platforms on why the way that you think and the words that you speak control your mind, body, reality. So yeah, to answer your question, short, I believe it's possible. Just be careful. Fair? All right.
Awesome. So Naza hasn't asked the question. Lawrence is not as well.
Do we have Megan and Lawrence?
Naza, is that how you pronounce it? Naza? Naza? All right, unmute your mic. Ask your question.
My mic is unmuted.
All right, Lawrence.
All right. So I think a good question would be, I'm super curious what you think the unconscious mind is at its core.
Okay. So the one thing that I know to be true about you still there?
Oh yeah.
Hey Adolfo, will you mute your camera, please? Thank you. All right. Will you speak up, Lawrence, for a second?
What time?
All right, there you go. Now I can see my screen. All right. So what do I think the unconscious is? I think the unconscious is a model for you to be able to understand what's going on in your mind and your brain. Everything in this world is a model. It's a concept. No one is inherently right. No one is inherently wrong. It's whatever you feel or believe about your life or your reality that makes it true. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're correct. Now, we use models to have a blueprint or an understanding of things. Does it mean that my model or my map is right? Does it mean that your model or your map is right? No, it just means that it works for us. So my understanding of the unconscious mind is that I like to think of everything in the form of a computer. So you've got your main CPU, it's got your hard drive, your memory storage, it runs all your programs. You've got your screen that displays what you think you see. You've got your speakers, you've got all this stuff, right? I like to think of the unconscious. I think on it so many different levels. The best way to explain this. I think of it as a computer that's running all the time. It's taking in, you've got your parasympathetic nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system. I believe that it's taking in information at all points, at all times. And what you're conscious of is just what's important. It's just what you need in order to make decisions and keep yourself safe to take in for changes in your environment, accountability. I often like to refer to the subconscious as the adult mind and the conscious as the child mind. That you think you know what's going on right now, but you don't. Your unconscious mind does. I like to think of your unconscious mind as, if you want to get into religion, spirituality, I believe that God is not separate from you, but that God, this body is the temple and that God is a part of you. That's who you are inherently. And that's where God lives. That God isn't the concept of a man sitting in the clouds, but God is, everywhere, the thing is when you label something, you create a box around it. And when you create a box around it, you claim what you think you know about it. And whenever you know what you know, there's a limit to the things that you know, and the things that you don't know are limitless. So anytime that you label something and you think you know what that is, you're missing the opportunity to see everything that you know you don't know. So when you label your unconscious or you label God or you label anything and you say, I know what this is, you're inherently you don't know, which is why I always go into everything saying, I really don't know. And I don't know. But I'm always open to interpretation and I fit it into my model that I know that works for me. With the unconscious mind, I think that, basically it's running the show. And knowing what I know from influence and, you know, subliminal, everything you're being suggested to all the time.
time,
Your conscious
constantly.
mind is that filter. And that's basically what it is. I think that conscious mind is your ego. That conscious mind is the part of you that says, this is who I am. This is what I know to be true. Challenge me. And your unconscious mind is the rest of it saying, listen, you know, this is what you feel. This is what you see. This is what you hear. This is what I'm picking up. And it's filtering all of this information, and it's running a, what do you call it? Windows 10 for you, operating system. So
An
that way you can
OS,
function.
yeah. So here's my question about that. Just following up on that. So using your metaphor, and I'm asking you this purely out of like, these are the things that I'm on the hunt about. It is not a like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is so if the subconscious is the adult mind, this is the paradox I've been thinking about for probably like 30 years, right? So the unconscious mind, using your metaphor, subconscious is the adult mind. It seems like the adult should not get stuck in these limiting patterns. That's what I'm curious about. It just seems like, because like if I have somebody come up to me and my adult brain is functioning, it's very easy for me to grab them by the hand and say, oh, you know what? Hey, probably not the best thing to go diving headfirst into that hole of concrete. So why don't we walk this way? And it's such a simple thing. And I do this for people all the time. And that's what I don't get about the unconscious getting stuck in these crazy loops. If it's the adult in the room.
I've got you. I've got a good answer for that, or a good, yeah. So your unconscious, there's nothing right and there's nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
So whatever you believe to be right or wrong is, in a sense, it's an identity level issue. It's a conscious decision of what's right and what's wrong. If you go out and you shoot someone in the street, your unconscious can pull the trigger. It's your conscious that won't let you. Right? Now, these thoughts or beliefs of whether conscious is right or not, those are still coming from your ego. They're still coming from your conscious. So when people get stuck in patterns, it's probably because they're not listening to their adult. They're not listening to their unconscious. They're not giving room. They think that they have to figure these problems out, and they're going through loop to loop. Now, that being said, everything that you have learned from the moment that you were born is a program. And sometimes people program, they give us shitty programs. They give us things that don't make sense. What we learn, what we know to be true about the world, how our parents or the people that raised us or the, you know, our environment growing up taught us the way the world is. This is what we call our knowns. And this is, whether it's productive, whether it's positive or negative for you, it's still a known. And the negative, positive, there's plenty of positives in the world. You might say, man, I'd love to go out and make more money. That's positive. Well, all the work and all the everything that you're going to have to go through to make that money is a negative. Well, I'd rather just be where I'm at because that's safe and comfortable. Your unconscious mind isn't worried about making you the most successful person in your life. It's not worried about making all your conscious wants and needs and desires. It's not interested in fulfilling those for you. It is capable of fulfilling them for you, but it's not interested. It's interested in keeping you calm, comfortable, and safe. It's interested in keeping you alive. Whenever you start to dive into your unconscious and you start to connect to your spirituality or whatever it is that you connect to, your inner self, it's your conscious mind doing that. And it's what you're doing is you're taking your unconscious and your ego and you're uniting them. And then you're finding spirituality. But separate of those, unconscious is taking care of you and conscious is your identity. It's your ego. It's trying to figure out things. So when you get stuck in these patterns, whether they're your unconscious or your conscious, they're still meant for one thing. It's meant for survival. It's a fight or flight response. You're either facing your challenges on head first, or you're repressing them and dealing with them later. And then when you repress them, you know, they get stuck in your body or they get stuck manifesting themselves in some form or fashion in your life. This life, you can't live in heaven forever. Heaven is blissful and there's no problems. It's, you know, there's no restrictions, there's no limitations. It just feels good. But think about an eternity of heaven. It would get a little boring, wouldn't it? Because you wouldn't know how to gauge how good you feel, right? That's part of being human. And that's part of having life, is going through the challenges and the problems that you face in this world. It's the friction of sex that makes sex so pleasurable. It's not just staying there and saying, oh yeah, this is a good feeling. It's the take and the push and the take and the push.
Well,
that's
until you learn Tantra, my friend.
Right. Okay.
Then there's some other layers going on there.
We're on a level that everyone can relate to, not just. But you get what I'm saying. Tantra wouldn't be so great if you didn't have anywhere to come from it, right?
Yep.
You can appreciate Tantra for what it is based off of the experiences, the pain points, or the less than pleasurable. Make sense?
Mhm.
That's that coming to a point, meaning that as you move through this life, that's the beauty of the life, is the ride. In that if you went through never having any problems, if your unconscious was perfect, then it wouldn't necessarily be much of a life. So
Yeah, I
no matter
totally
what
get you
area,
on that.
you're gonna have something that you've got to work with the environment. You've got to work back and forth. It's life's about living. It's not about being efficient necessarily. It's about being comfortable and calm or safe.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. I like that question. Thank you, Lord.
So, Naza, you're up. So unmute your mic, ask your question. I believe Adolfo hasn't asked a question. Other than that, I believe.
Okay.
So after we get to these two questions, to wrap up, what we like doing sometimes is having everyone join together in a beautiful hypnotic experience led by you in whatever direction you want to go. So we'll start with
Led by me?
Yeah. You down?
Oh, great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Should have prepared that, but yeah, we'll do something.
Awesome. Unmute your mic and ask your question. Naza, talking to you.
Okay, so you said, and I'm completely agreed about mind over matter. But as the other lady said, like, well, I think the majority of people had that self-belief that you're not enough. So it's always like interrupting, like even your conscious that you have that bad programming. So how you overcome that, like on a subject like healing yourself, because maybe, and I'm talking about specifically me, because well, I used to love dancing. I was a dancer, but then like I had like this well, I think was kind of the beginning of my spiritual awakening, and like for some reason my body was creating this feeling that is hurting, so I can't dance anymore. And then like every goal I want to achieve, my body gives me this pain and it says like, no, I can't. Like I like to draw, so I was taking this like graphic design course, and then suddenly my wrist like didn't allow me to keep up because it was hurting. So I know that I had a bad childhood and like my program is really fucked up. So like even though I'm conscious of it, and like when I have that thought, I just like switch it to a good one, you know, but still the same. I don't see any changes, even though I'm conscious of everything.
Do you believe you're good enough?
My subconscious mind believes that I'm not, but consciously I do.
Okay. So what does that mean?
I'm fucked up?
I don't know, does it?
I guess so.
Your conscious mind's going to direct you wherever you go. Your conscious mind's leading. Okay. So do you feel like you're good enough? Because it sounds to me like you feel like you're fucked up. You feel like you told me the very first thing that you got on the phone call was that your unconscious programming is all messed up. So inherently,
it is.
Even if there's 90% of you that believes that you're good enough, there's still 10% of you, that little seed right there that's saying, yeah, but maybe she's not. That's a pretty powerful 10%.
I know. And like I do have the belief that you can heal yourself. It's like, well, this lady, she passed like maybe 2 years ago. I know that maybe you heard about her, like what's her name? Louise Hay. She healed herself of cancer.
Yes.
And like she had the cancer on her uterus, I guess, because she was abused when she was little. So like I think like somehow like, well, the doctors haven't found out well, maybe I have a condition on my body that is like I'm more elastic than usual, so like for some reason that makes my ligaments swollen and blah blah blah. So it's like I'm on chronic pain. So but I do have the belief that I can make a miracle. I heal myself with my mind, because yeah, I've been experiencing my mind even like with substances, you know, like, and yeah, if not what that will meditation.
How often have you pushed through your pain?
Say again?
How often have you pushed through your pain? Like if your wrist starts hurting or you start having these pains, do you stop immediately?
Well, I keep on doing it, but they're like I had to quit working out or like drawing or like whatever, because it's like a pinch pain, like fucks up everything. And it's like basically just on my right side. My left side has it sometimes, but my right side is always on pain.
Now, have you ever gone to the doctor for any of this stuff?
Yeah.
And what do they say?
That I got a condition that my ligaments are more elastic than the normal.
Okay. So you're dealing with a physiological issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a mindset. It's not that you're not good enough and that's why your
But
body
I feel
is
like
not
my
allowing
mind created it in order to punish me, because like, yeah, that belief, to keep up with that belief.
Well, so this issue specifically is something that we probably want to go through in a little bit more detail in private on a therapeutic session. That way we could get into figuring out what are your beliefs surrounding the thoughts around what it is that you're dealing with. Does that make sense? But in order just to give you a kind of a short answer for your question is getting yourself, I call this self-alignment. And this is how you heal yourself, or this is how you get past the issues and the problems in your life. Because essentially you've got everything that you need in order to be able to heal yourself. But you also need to listen to yourself, and you need to figure out what it is that yourself is trying to tell you. So do you meditate?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when you meditate?
I breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I just calm my mind and like, yeah, try not to think. But in fact, when I'm doing that, what I get is like memories of random events. Like I'm not thinking of anything, but let's say like I got a memory and I go like, okay, or an emotion, and that emotion is like reminds me of a dream I had, or yeah, an experience I had. Like when I'm trying to calm my mind, it's like I'm not like consciously thinking of something, like all these memories come back to me.
Do you journal?
Second, no.
Do you journal? Okay.
No.
If you want help with your problem, start journaling. Just pick up a piece of paper, commit to it every morning, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just a word, and start seeing. So the purpose of meditation is to be able to clear your mind. Yes? Well, you're succeeding in that. But your mind is clear, and then you've got all these thoughts, all these memories, all these things that are popping up. Do you think that they're popping up because your mind doesn't know how to process them, or it just doesn't? They're popping up for a reason, because you're going into a state that is a workshop. You're supposed to go in there and you're supposed to handle these issues, you're supposed to handle these memories and these thoughts. But you keep going there and you're accessing them. You're pulling up your computer and you're going through your folders and your files, and you're coming up, and instead of handling them or dealing with them or processing them or working with them, you're just trying to say, no, the purpose of this right now is to clear my mind. No, the purpose of this is to clear my mind. No. The point of clearing your mind is to clear your mind so you can start processing the things that you need to process. It's not about just going in there and being still. That's a helpful technique. It's a helpful tool for being able to suck yourself out of a cluttered mind. But at a certain point, in order to go through and heal yourself and fix yourself, you need to take time to sit there, meditate, listen to what comes up, step into that, and see what you can learn from it. Where is it taking you? Why is this image, this memory, why are these feelings coming up? What do they mean? Is this true? All right. And then on your conscious mind, you need to hold this phrase in your mind, that you are good enough, that you love to, what was it, draw? What was it that you hurt your wrist with?
Yeah, like I was having this like graphic design course.
Mm-hmm. So you need to start reconfirming to yourself when you enter into that meditative state, not only that you are enough, because you are. You don't know it yet, but you are. That being said, hey, Ronnie, could you mute that for a second? Would you mute yours?
What? What?
There you go. All right, sorry. You are good enough. You've got everything that you need. You always have, and there's always been someone inside of you that's been telling you that, but you've been second guessing it because maybe your family or your environment growing up, maybe they taught you something different, or they didn't teach you, they didn't tell you that you were enough, right? So you've got this thought that maybe you aren't good enough, and that this is why your body is trying to tell you or confirm that, right? Maybe it's not. Maybe you just have a physiological issue that is in no way tied to whether you're worthy or not. Maybe you can separate from that pain, and then you can stop associating with that pain. Again, I don't know, because we'd have to dig into it a little bit deeper, but I am telling you that I do know that you are worthy. I can already see it in your face. You know what Chinese face medicine is? Yeah, no. So every single thought that you have in your head is betrayed through your body, through your thoughts, through your eyes, your physiology. And if you think of if you're a visual person, then you're going to look up. If you are an auditory person, then you're going to look to the side. If you're kinesthetic, you're going to look down. If you're lying to me, you're going to look one way. If you're telling me the truth, you're going to look another way. If you're nervous, your body is going to show me in some way. Every single thought you have is betrayed by your body. And you are telling everyone everything that's going through your mind. All right. That being said, Chinese face medicine, one half of your face is your social side. The other half of your face is your personal side. It's the thoughts that you really think about yourself. And I can see a clear distinction between your two faces. Now, you're very symmetrical in some areas, which means that you're very in tune and you're very in alignment with yourself, which means that you know what you know and you believe it to be true, and there's truth in that for you, right? But there's other parts of you that once you heal those thoughts and those beliefs and whatever they are, that trauma in your life, it will start to change your facial features. Your face will start to even up, or will start to express whatever it is that you're dealing with. If you look at people who have had a very hard, emotional, traumatic life, then you can see it in their faces. It may not be any direct trauma or damage, but you can see their face holds that trauma and those emotional pain, those emotional troubles. That being said, you are very worthy, and I can see it in your face. And I can see that you're right there on the verge of realizing that for yourself. And you already know it to be true. There's 90% of you that believes it. But be careful. Listen for that 10% of the time that tells you, that creates just a little bit of doubt. Maybe I'm not worthy enough. Do you think you're not worthy enough because your body has whatever issues it's dealing with?
No, I think like it's the way that my mind punished me.
Okay, so there's a part of you that believes that you're being punished, right?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
For not being good enough.
So you believe that you weren't good enough when?
I mean, it's like, I tell you, like consciously, I think, and I feel that I'm good enough, but I know that my program inside, my subconscious mind is telling me I'm not.
Gotcha. So that means that there's a thought, or there's thoughts that come up from time to time that remind you that what? Maybe you weren't good enough, or maybe that you had done some things?
Well, I think like always your emotions like manifestate through your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like my mother maybe didn't have a better outcome, so she didn't know how to teach me better. So like it's always running because I have issues with her and I can't solve them.
There you go. The issues with her that you can't solve are programmed into your body, which makes you think that maybe you're not good enough because of the times that. Anyways, so this is something that we should probably handle at another time. And if you want to, I'll give you guys my information at the end of the phone call. That way you can contact me. But if it's something you want to explore at another time, then I'm sure that that's something we could dig into a little bit deeper. But obviously for another time. Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Nazar. How do you pronounce your name?
NASA.
Nazar. Okay.
It's short from Nazareth, but I don't like Nazareth. Yeah.
All right. Where are we at, guys?
So Sergio has a last question here. And then
may I ask a related question from the last? Just related last question.
Yeah. Let me hit Sergio real quick, and then we'll get you, Paulo. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. So, hello.
Hey, Sergio.
Yeah. So my question is basically like, how do you make decisions with other people in a way that is a win-win for both parts? By communicating effectively, but like, even if the other part is closed off to finding a solution for both parts, if it makes sense. So like, yeah, I want an outcome, but like, for example, with my dad, like, he's scared because of the coronavirus thing, but I want to like, I like to go out. I like to meet people. It's a part of me to be social. So like, I love being social and meeting people, things like that. But like, I go out and obviously I use protection. I'm not like dumb about it, but like I use protection. I use masks. I actually have one here. But like I eat very good food to take care of my immune system. I wash my hands a lot and things like that. But like it's just I want to find a way to communicate in a way that is a win-win for both of us, where my dad is happy from like or a decision that we can take, but myself too. But also like how to apply that in a lot of situations. So like that is my question.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
if I understand what you're saying is that you would like to leave the house, but your dad says no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Zig Ziglar, and this is a famous quote, but it pretty much it's a foundational belief for me. And it's get what you want by helping other people get what they want, right? And as you practice this one principle, you will start to see it multiply in your life through all areas. And it goes back to, again, what I was saying earlier, is when you give people stuff for free, they will inherently come back to you. And you know, there's the art of being able to go through and hypnotize someone to give you free Chipotle or free whatever it is. But then there's the art of being such a personality and such a abundance that everything that comes to you in life is free, that you don't even have to work for it. People start giving you things, handing you things. And it doesn't come from a mindset of always trying to take. It comes from a mindset of always trying to give. And it's the law of reciprocity. I mean, you can read in the books, I think it's Robert Greene's, not Seduction, but maybe 48 Laws of Power. One of those. Anyways, the point is that essentially you would like to always have a win-win situation for every single person you come in life in contact with. And so that should be the goal, is how can this be a win-win situation for this person? How can I help them get what they want while also still getting what I want, right? If you give something that's only one-sided, then they're only going to see the benefit on your side, and they're not going to want to step forward as much as if you show them the value in it for themselves, okay? So take that principle and apply it. And it's just a question, how can this be a win-win? So I will ask you the same thing. How is it win-win for you leaving the house versus your dad not wanting you to go?
Yeah, but like I have a few solutions in a way that I know, like I understand what he wants and I communicate what I want in a way that I'm reading Crucial Conversations, the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm applying some concepts from there, but like it's just a little bit like frustrating for me because I propose solutions, but my dad doesn't want any to do with that, and like yeah, it's just a little bit
So answer the
frustrating,
question.
and yeah.
How is it a win-win? How do you have a win-win for you and your dad? You want to go out and be social. He doesn't want to lose his son to coronavirus.
Maybe
or he doesn't want you bringing it back to him.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lot on the line as far as he's concerned.
Like my idea, the best solution will be to like move to another house for myself, but obviously I don't have the money yet, so like I have to focus on that as well. But like it's just a part of me that I like to connect with people and to meet people, and it's
you want to know how you can
that,
communicate to him, how you can persuade him and manipulate him. Manipulate's not a bad word, but it is what you're looking to do. You're not looking for a win-win situation. That's the first thing that you have to clarify, okay?
Yeah, but like it's a win-lose if I don't go out, because I want to connect with people. I want that connection to meet all the people, and I don't want to. Yeah.
So now it's not about coming up with a win-win situation. It's just about coming up with a situation that you can win.
Yeah, but like it's so that it's okay for both parts. Like I don't want him to be like, no.
What are his concerns? What are his worries?
That I pass the virus up to him and to other people.
Okay. Is he willing to go out?
No, only for food.
Only for food. Okay, so he at least has got out of the house for food, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Essentially, you're going to have to appeal to him in whatever way appeals to him. Is he highly logical, or is he highly emotional?
Logical.
Okay. So logic would say that every single person is going to contract this. They've got to go through their own incubatory process, and then most people get over it. But if he spends his whole time not surrounding himself or not being around anywhere, then it's only a matter of time before his immune system is too weak and he's going to catch it anyway. So it's better off to, like I said, this is a far argument, but you're going to have to appeal to him in some way, right? I would suggest maybe seeing if you can get him to come out. Hey, let's go grab some food together. And then while you guys are out, start maybe pointing out the fact of, oh, look, you know, they're out there enjoying themselves times. You know, I've noticed that a lot of people that haven't caught it by now aren't going to catch it at all. You know, these are going to have to be your personal persuasion techniques that you throw in there. I can't tell you how to go about talking to your dad because I don't know his personality. I don't know anything about him right now. But the point is that first, you know, this isn't going to be a win-win for him. So that's not going to be on the table unless you can figure out how some way, like, hey, Dad, would you like to go see a movie? Maybe we can both go out. You can be social. You can get him out of the house. You guys can meet in the middle. That would be a win-win. If you did that, he might then be able to see that he's not as worried about it. But if he's inside the house and he's too afraid to leave, then he doesn't have a logical, realistic expectation of what's going on. And that might be what you need to communicate to him. Is that how can you know realistically what's going out? Because all of my friends are hanging out and they're taking proper precautions and they're keeping themselves safe while also not allowing this to limit their behaviors in life. Would you rather have, you know, the control and fear fear and, you know, whoever it is, the government, whatever, control you? Or do you believe in freedom and being able to express yourself, taking the proper safety measures, right? You can also explain to him in a metaphor that, you know, there are some jobs that are extremely dangerous, but with the right protective equipment, it makes them okay to be able to work in and out. Again, I don't know your dad specifically, but those are a couple of things, okay?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I will do something like that. Thank you.
Okay.
That was my question.
Good. All right, Paula.
Okay, you said that different sides of face shows that your social life and your inside life are different. So if you live against your nature, for example, I worked in a technical area and my nature is to be like very calm person, feeling person. So it might be the reason that's why my face is like different sides. And it will become different during the time if I will follow my path, like it will mirror one day.
The way I understand it is the more in alignment with yourself, the more we look at people and people who have synchronicity between them, we find them more aesthetically pleasing, right? Versus someone who's one side's off. And that's not because, you know, people are just naturally, that's a sign, it's an expression of your mental clarity, of your mental health, right? You can tell that some person is not conflicted with every decision that they make, that they're not struggling with their internal thoughts, beliefs, desires, but that they're congruent. Now, it might just mean that some people are pretty simple. They don't have a lot of stress, right? It's just kind of an expression of, you know, one side of you has got a lot of stress and a lot of problems that you deal with, and the other side is maybe able to relax, let go, and whatever it might be. I'm not fully, I'm taking face reading this year, so that way I can study and be a lot more knowledgeable on the subject. But essentially, when you go through and you start getting in alignment with yourself, and you start actually processing these things that you're thinking about that are causing you issues, when you overcome them, they're no longer going to limit you, or they're no longer going to have to hold a place within your energetic system and keep record, and your neurology is going to release them. Essentially, you've got little micro muscles that are holding these stress and these frustrations all the time. And when you continue to think about them, they're continuing to run through your body. Your face is always fluid, it's always moving. The thoughts that you think and the beliefs that you process on a day-to-day basis, you repeat those cycles every single day. So they start to create these patterns, these habits in your face. When you release those thoughts and those emotions, you no longer cycle through them, you release their energetic presence, and then your face can start to change according to whatever it is that you've been working on. In your body as well, your energetic system, everything.
But do you think, or do you know that we were born such a way that different sides, or like I grow up and I became with different sides in teenage years?
Yeah, I'm sure that as you've gotten older, the more life that you've experienced, it's affected the way that the older you get, you can look back and you can see people who had a trauma back when they were 17 or back when they were 22. If you get really good at this stuff, you can read it just like a map. And that's what it is it's a map. If you go through and you release this trauma that you've been holding on to for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, how whichever be, then your face is going to reflect that. And I've worked with someone specifically that when I met them, their face, there was one side of it that it had a big droop, and it was just off. And I didn't take a lot of, I had noticed it. And then as I started working with this person, I think it was after 3 sessions, and they were 3 deep, powerful sessions where we went in there and we had this person clean off their shelf, the traumas, everything. And there was an intuition, a connection with this person that I didn't even have to know what they were dealing. I didn't have to consciously know, but I could feel it. I was in tune, and it was almost like their thoughts, their processes were going through my mind, and I could see what they had dealt with. And it was weird because it was really new for me as an intuition. And then I started going through and saying, okay, you can handle this and you can handle that. And as they started breathing, they were getting limited in the breathing, and I felt my chest restricting and I couldn't breathe. So I had to connect with them to breathe in for them, to continue to get them to breathe and to walk through them through the process in order for them to be able to clear their shelf. And then I noticed whenever I was done that their face had completely cleared up, and it happens just like that. And the person was a lot more attractive, and you could see the things that were, when I first saw it, I was like, I wonder if something happened. And I didn't think about it on a mental level. I thought maybe like a physical level, like maybe they've been abused in the past. But I watched as their face changed, and it was literally right there. And from that point, this person would, they thank me and thank me and thank me. And I'd say, absolutely, think of something that you're struggling with in your life. And they couldn't. When they first met me, they were begging. There was so much weight, so much trauma, so much that they couldn't even live their life. And now this person can't even think of something that, come up with something else. I dare you. I challenge you. Come up with something else for me to work on. They couldn't come up with anything, which allowed me to know that they'd gone through and processed everything that they needed to process. And that from that moment forward, they were no longer carrying baggage, but they were able to enter into their future with, every possibility, every opportunity.
Okay, thank you for answer.
You're welcome.
Do you have any trick how to ask person what's the problem of him? Like how to find
the clapper.
Ask them. Okay.
You froze for a second. Ask me again. A trick to what?
I don't find the problem of people. Like I see people now and all of them looks very nice and without problem. So how to find the problem of them?
Don't project your own thoughts and just ask them, what's important to you about that? Why? Try to figure out why after practicing, because it doesn't come with therapy. It comes with understanding yourself. You have to understand why people think the way that they think. So if someone comes up and says, I'm sad because my cat died, what about your cat dying makes you feel upset? They're going to be a little bit more specific. They're going to go into a little bit more detail. Sooner or later, you're going to find something that they say that doesn't make sense. Most people, when they give you an answer, the first answer will be superficial. It'll be a rehearsed answer, an answer they've given hundreds of times before. When you ask them again, they may repeat themselves, or they may come up with another superficial answer, or something that protects them from being vulnerable, from sharing an intimate answer. If you ask them the same question over and over again, well, what about that? Why is that important to you? Why does it make you feel that way? How does that make you feel? They're going to start to get it, and they're going to go inside their head and they're going to go, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. And they're going to come up with a real answer. And it's going to be a lot more true. And most likely, when you start asking people those subconscious answered questions, they're going to come up with something that doesn't make sense. Well, I just know it's my fault that my cat got ran over in the middle of the night. Well, why? Well, because had I not left the window open, then the cat wouldn't have chased the bird out the tree, ran there, and then been in the street the next morning. Okay, does that really make sense? Well, to them it does. In their own neurology, their own belief system, they believe that they're responsible for whatever it is that is causing their problem. You have to be able to allow them to realize, to emotionally release from that association or that attachment. That's why you drop people in hypnosis, that we can shut up their conscious mind. But basically, it's listening and then not projecting your own answers, but continuing to ask why. Be curious. If you ask someone why they're having their problem and why it makes them feel that way, or what's important about that, or if they look at you like you should know the answer, maybe sometimes you think you do know the answer. Still ask them why. Challenge them. If someone says, yeah, my mother passed away and it makes me sad, instead of going, yeah, I know, I can understand how that makes you sad. Why does that make you sad? They'll stop, they'll do one of these jerks, and they'll look at you and they'll say, they'll think in their head, this person doesn't understand, and then they'll tell you. And that will be specific to their problem. And that's where the real change happens.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Bye, Paula.
Awesome. Okay. Absolute last question, Ronnie. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, it's super short. And I was trying to find about you, Everest, and I couldn't see, in comparison to other hypnotists that we've had in here in the live Q&As, and I couldn't find much from you that I would have liked to see from you. I don't know, YouTube or something. I mean, your biography was great. Is my internet?
So
hello. Let me see.
I can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Now we're frozen.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Is he on still, or did he go off?
I'm sorry. I have a really bad internet right now. I don't know why. But my question was, hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Where can we find more information about you? Because I tried to look your name and see you on YouTube, and I didn't find much about you.
Yeah. So I was in the military when can you hear me?
Oh yeah. I'm so sorry. I will ask for Marvin the recording. I had really bad internet. I'm sorry.
No. So to answer your question, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I was in the military for a while. I got out, I started coaching, and when I started learning about hypnotherapy.
No. I mean, all of that, it's great. And I did pick that up. But
I'm going to give you the information you're looking for.
Okay.
All I was going to say is that at a certain point over the last couple of years, I have been more focused on perfecting my craft and my skill, being able to actually create the change that I want with people more than I have business or advertising. So I go around, and a lot of my stuff is through referrals. That being said, I'm working on updating my social media presence so that way I can actually get out there and do the right marketing. But if you guys are interested, I have an Instagram. It's got a couple of videos of me on there. I'm going through and I'm hypnotizing people on the street. Sooner or later, I'm going to start actually posting the videos that I've been recording that are actually meant to provide some sort of value, show the therapeutic side, and a whole list of other things that I've got planned. It's just in work right now. My Instagram is simple.
Yeah, to be connected. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Let me.
And what is your Instagram? How can we contact you?
Let me go through and see if I can put it on here real quick. Is there a chat?
Yeah, Everest, just tell me your handle. I'll put it in the chat.
It's just at Everest Hoelkem.
Okay. I'll put a link to that in just a second.
Okay. And then I've got a website. It's coach-everest.com. That one's set up for men, but again, I work with women. Normally what I end up doing is I end up coaching men, and I end up doing therapy with women. I still need to build myself pretty much a general therapy site, so that way people can have access to that. But usually if you want to get in contact with me, either through email, which is just coacheverest@gmail.com, no dash in that one, and then, or on Instagram, just send me a private message and I'll contact you that way. Or my number is 424, make sure I've got my number right, 279-8646.
Do you speak another language besides English?
No, just English.
Just interested about you. How about you, Tyler?
I know how to say this. Wait, no, this. Yeah.
Which language is it?
Something like
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an idea, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay, cool.
All right. Okay, so that should be right. So the phone number is 424-279-8646. And then the email is just coacheverest@gmail.com. And then my Instagram is Everest Hoelkem. Either, any one of those are a good way to get in contact with me. Answer your question?
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So that was the last question. If you have a question, I'm sorry. We're going to wrap this up with a little on-the-spot impromptu hypnosis for everyone. Before that, I'm personally curious. What brought hypnosis into your awareness?
What brought hypnosis into my awareness? Okay. So I had just started coaching, and I had learned a little bit about NLP, and in the background was always the word hypnosis. And if you listen in song in our culture, there's always this little word of hypnosis in the background, but I'd never even paid attention or never even cared before about 3 or 4 years ago. I started coaching. I learned about NLP. That started my discovery. And I had a girlfriend, and I thought, hi, can I hypnotize you? And she looked at me a little curious, and she was like, okay. And so I decided I was going to try to get her hand stuck to her leg. So I went through, I dropped her down, I gave her all the suggestions to stick her hand to her leg, and then I tested it, and I saw her do this. Nope, not stuck. And at the time I thought, dang it, doesn't work. I didn't take into account that a little bit of sticking, all it had to do was be reinforced. And so I thought, okay. So I said, all right, well, that didn't work. Now I'm going to try to get you to forget your name. So I went through and I gave her all the suggestions to get her to forget her name. And I thought, I'll be tricky. I'll get her to swap her name. So I tried to get her to think that her name was something else. When I went to have her access her name, she goes, and I think I told her name was Christine. And she goes, Chris Taylor. And I didn't get her to forget her name. That was a fail too. I didn't take into account the fact that I was being able to get a little bit of that suggestion to take place. But I looked at her and I saw that her eyes were kind of teary, and she just had this worried look on her face. And I looked at her, I said, are you okay? She goes, yeah, can we be done with this now? I was like, yeah, why? She said, my hands have been stuck to my legs for the last 30 minutes. I said, you haven't been able to move them? She's like, no. I said, oh, yeah. So I dropped her down, brought her back up. And what I inadvertently didn't realize is that those suggestions were taking place. But whenever I was telling her exactly what to pay attention to, her subconscious was on guard for it. And it was listening for all those suggestions. Now, the first time it had worked a little bit, but I hadn't reconfirmed the suggestion. The second time I had inadvertently gave her all the same suggestions for the hand stick while I was getting her to focus on her forgetting her name. So those suggestions went in the back door and they took hold and her arms were locked. And so that really inspired me. I thought that was super cool. I moved out to California, and I thought if there's anywhere else that I could learn a little bit more about hypnosis, it will be here. So I ended up going to school for hypnosis, but what I ended up going to school for was hypnotherapy. And I learned the whole therapeutic side, and that's just kind of started my path and my journey to be able to help people be able to communicate.
Awesome. Cool. And how did you run into Marcel? He's who I first heard about you from. Yeah. So me and Marcel were in the same class at the same time. And I remember when we first met each other, everyone in the class was kind of skeptical of him just because he was younger. And I remember sitting back watching everyone have their own little biases. And the more and more I got to know him, the more and more I could feel that, we were on the same path, the same journey. There's a lot more of us alike. And it just kind of manifested itself. There was one point where we had gone to class, we had been classmates, we had been talking, and I came up to him and I said, hey man, I'm going to go to this NLP seminar. It's all the way in San Diego. You should look into it. It's interesting. He's like, I'm going to an NLP conference in San Diego this weekend. And I said, I'll meet you there. And then from that point, we were pretty much inseparable. That's awesome. All right, good stuff, dude. Well, this was a lot of fun, super, super valuable. And let's finish it up. We can do like 5 to 10 minutes, whatever direction you want to go. I'll leave it to you now. How many people do we have on the call? We have 6, 9, 13 right now. 13. Okay. So is what I want to do real quick is I want to have each person tell me one thing that they would like to take away, one thing that they want in their life, short and simple. Can we do that? Okay. So Tyler, I'm going to let you call it out. Let's give a list. We got 13 people. You call the first person out. The first person comes up, and then let's just go. Can you run down the line since you can see them? Okay, yeah, I'll go in order. Paula. All right, Paula.
Can you repeat the question because I didn't understand?
Something short and simple. What's one thing that you'd like to have more of in your life? What's one thing that you would like a change on?
Frames.
Frames, okay.
Yeah, that's it for a while.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Next one.
Everyone, real quick, unmute your mic so we can make this fast and be ready. Unmute your mic real quick. All right, Alan, you're up.
I'm good, man. I'm perfect as the way I am.
Who is that?
Alan.
Me, Alan.
That was Alan. Alan. Okay. What was it? You're perfect.
I said I'm good. I'm perfect the way I am. You know, I don't think I need anything else.
Good. Okay. Sergio.
Bradley.
Bradley.
Okay.
Yeah. Social calm in social situations.
All right.
All right, then we have Karen, Marvin, then Naza in that order.
Yeah. Being likable.
Being likable.
Security.
Okay.
Naza.
What was the question? What do I want?
What's something short and sweet that you'd like more of in your life? A change that you want, just anything.
Master my mind.
Okay. All right, next.
We have Krishna, Sergio, Adolfo, then Sarah.
Rich want to be productive.
Say that again. Rich and what?
Rich and productive.
Okay.
Want to be more productive.
Productive. Okay,
And
good.
whatever I do.
And whatever you do.
Yeah, precisely hypnosis.
All right, Sergio.
Money and authenticity.
Okay. All right, who do we have next?
That me?
Yep.
That'd be confidence. Adolfo.
What's your name? Is Adolfo? Hi, Adolfo.
How's it going?
You said confidence in what?
Confidence in everything I do.
In everything you do. All right.
Thank you, by the way,
Absolutely.
for everything.
Thank you. All right. We
Yeah.
have two more.
Then Ronnie and Sarah. Ronnie, you there, man?
All right. He probably went out when all this happened. Ronnie, what is one thing that you want to have more in life? Can you hear us?
What?
All right. If he's not there.
He's moving and he's not talking. Sarah, are you there? Sarah. Ronnie? Judy, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you give an answer?
I'm sorry, couldn't hear. I was logged out. I was logged off.
What's something that you want in life? Just a real quick, sweet and short answer. Maybe change, maybe something you'd like in your life.
Me in my life. Learn how to be patient.
Okay.
Patient and enjoy. Because sometimes I just want results fast. And I know that.
That's good. Cool. Thank you. All right. Do we have anyone left? Was it Sarah? All right. And then if everyone will you guys all mute your mics? All right. There we go. All right. Now, I think we had one last one, Sarah. If not, are we all ready? All right. Okay. So I can't see all of you. I can only see one person at a time. If you guys will, if you feel like participating in this event, then participate. If you don't feel like participating, then just don't participate. But don't go halfway, half out. You either listen and you participate, or don't take it for what it's worth. That being said, I want you guys each, since I can't see you, I need you to just go ahead and follow my directions and do what I say. I'm going to assume that you're doing and listening to everything I say and you're following my words and my commands and my suggestions, okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I want you each to take 3 nice deep breaths in And I want you to close your eyes. Let that first deep breath out. Take another nice deep breath in. Let it out. And on that third breath, breathe in real deep. Feel your chest fill up. And then as you let it out, feel your shoulders drop, your body relax, and your mind and your body just comfortable. And I want you to allow yourself to drift into a nice, deep, comfortable state, a state of meditation. You don't have to go into hypnosis and you don't have to go into trance, but close your eyes and feel what it feels like to allow your mind to drop into that deeper state. What it feels like to allow comfort and relaxation to take hold just for a moment. Maybe you're not used to it. Maybe it's a new feeling, but imagine a cool, calm, comfortable glass of relaxation. As it pours down over the top of your head, you can feel it, you can hear it, you can see it as it goes all the way down through your neck, down through your shoulders, through your arms, down through your chest and through your stomach, all the way through your hips and to your thighs, down through your knees, to your calves, to your feet. And knowing that you're going to stay in your seat and that you're not going to fall out, but you can allow yourself to go as loose and as limp and as relaxed as you want. Maybe your head falls forward and your chin goes closer to your chest. But at the same point, you can feel that comfortable relaxation floating all the way down from your head, down through your body, through your hips, through your thighs, down through your calves and your feet. You can feel yourself grounding to the ground as that energy starts to float all the way back up. Just like a cool, calm, comfortable glass of relaxation that you pour from the top and it fills up from the bottom, you can feel that relaxing energy as it floats all the way back up through your calf, through your thighs, like a tinging, pleasurable sensation through your hips, through your arms, through your chest, up through your shoulders, up the back of your neck. And maybe you can feel goosebumps or little tingling. And maybe you can feel your mind start to split as you can feel it become numb. You can feel it go blurry as everything else just fades away and you go just a little bit deeper now into a nice, deep, meditative state. Then I want you to picture yourself sitting there, and I want you to imagine yourself opening your eyes and then closing your eyes and then opening your eyes and closing your eyes. And each and every time you open your eyes and you close your eyes, you can allow yourself to go just a little bit deeper, just like you're hitting the snooze alarm. You can feel yourself as it feels even more relaxing now, because the deeper you go, the more relaxed you feel. The more relaxed you feel, the deeper you go. You can feel your breathing in and out, in and out. And you can almost feel as your head becomes loose and limp. And now is a nice deep state for you to go into a hypnotic trance. You don't have to go any farther than what you want, but you can allow yourself to continue going by saying inside of your mind the word 10, even deeper, 9, 7, and just allow your mind and your body to fade. And I want you to picture yourself walking along a beach, and you're walking there and it's perfect. You can feel your toes in the sand. You can feel the sun coming down, the breeze as it goes through. See what you see, feel what you feel, hear what you hear. Notice the birds chirping. Then I want you to imagine how good it is that you feel right now, that all you have to do is close your eyes for a moment, take a couple deep breaths in, and you can separate yourself from this world, from this problem, from the stress. You can start to get in alignment with yourself, because essentially you are perfect the way you are. Everything that you've learned up to this point has brought you exactly where you need and want to be. Now, if you want to be in new places and you want to go new areas, then all you have to do is change the way that you think and believe about the things that you have in your life. If you need proof, then think about all the thoughts that you've ever thought about and how they've manifested and got you exactly where you want to go. And now is the time that you can start allowing yourself to correct or to connect your thoughts with your mind and your body in a positive form, in a positive direction to get you where you want to go. Whether it's patience, so that way you can enjoy life instead of needing and having to have faster results. You can start to appreciate taking a step back, closing your eyes, just relaxing for a moment and allowing the real solutions and the real problems to come to mind. Because when you do that, it can give you a sense of confidence in almost everything you do. Because there is no such thing as confidence. There's just a sense of you being confident in the moment. And just like you can control your physiology, if you pretend to be confident, then the only thing that really matters is what other people think of you as far as whether you're confident. And if you can make other people think that you're confident, then you are in fact confident. So if you start to express yourself in every area of your life, just knowing that the first step to confidence is acting confident, then everything else will follow. People will start to treat you as if you are confident, and in sense, you will start to be confident. It's a reoccurring loop. So anything that you want in your life, if you start to frame it positively, if you project what it is that you want, and you set those intentions, and you set a frame or an idea around it, then you can know exactly what your boundaries are, exactly what your standards are, exactly what your guidelines are. And then you can hold those frames and you can start to project them onto any and every other person that you come in contact with. And then they will know what you know, what you're communicating, what you're trying to express, even if you don't even use your words. Allowing yourself to close your eyes, to sit back, to relax, meaning that you can get into any state that you want. So if you've ever felt happy, you can feel happy for just a moment. You can giggle and laugh to yourself, and you can start to feel how your body starts to respond. And it can feel really good to be happy if you want to. Likewise, if you wanted to be sad and you want to build up a list of the reason why life's unfair, then you can. You can come up with all the thoughts and all the reasons why you should be sad or why you should be mad. So if you want to feel a certain way in your life, then start becoming aware of your emotions and aware of your feelings. Start to live your life with intention and purpose, knowing that all you have to do is think of a thought, believe in it, and make sure it's positive, even if it's something simple as I am happy or I am calm, I'm excited. So let's say you're out in public and you really wish that you had social calmness, a little bit of non-anxiety or whatever it might be. Think about what it would look like if you had that. Take a nice deep breath in and think about what your body feels like, what kind of state you're in whenever you're doing exactly what it is that you want. Think about that best version of you acting exactly like you like that person to act and what that person's body language looks like, what they feel, how they carry themselves. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you feel the air, feel your lungs and your chest rise, feel those positive feelings and know that all you have to do is close your eyes and access that at any point in time. And that the more and more and more that you close your eyes and become aware of these feelings that you want, the more and more you can have these feelings in your life because they're just habits. You're just practicing them. You can get the security that you want. You can become the master of your own mind. You can access any thoughts, any feelings, anything in your life that you want. This is the law of attraction. Your reticular activating system is a part of your neurology that helps you identify anything and everything that you become aware of in your life. If you start focusing that RAS on the right things, the positive things, on your goals, on your future, even if you have to imagine what they are because you don't have any experience of what they are yet, your mind will start to look for them and it will start to pull it into your existence. Maybe it's money, maybe it's authenticity. Imagine what you look like with that money. Don't imagine just having money. Imagine how you earn that money. What steps you have to take in order to receive that money. Maybe money and authenticity go hand in hand. Imagine what it means to be authentic. Imagine how that's beneficial to other people. How you can get win-win situations in every area of life where you can get that patience and you can enjoy each and everything. You can have that security. You can be the master of your own mind. You can be rich and productive in whatever you do. So far, up to this point, You all have a little bit of interest in hypnosis. You all have a little bit of interest in figuring out how to better your lives. And even if you realize you've learned some things or not, all of these suggestions have still been programmed in. So whether you're conscious of it or not, these programs are now inside of your mind and they're running. You have no ability to not be successful. You have no ability to not be able to be the best version of you, because all of these suggestions in their own positive manner have now gone in and you're aware of them. And so now you can take the time to go through and set the frames that you want. You can be the perfect the way you are. You can have social calmness, and you can be humble. You can have security. You can master your own mind. You can be rich and productive in whatever you do. You can have money and authenticity and confidence in everything you do. You can have patience and enjoy. Instead of having results fast, you can have results exactly how they're meant to be. Now, here in a second, not just yet, I want you to think of the best version of you. See that person in the future, not next year, not 2 years, not 5 years, but 10 years. Come up with the best version of you. And I want you to see that version of you. See what that person looks like, what struggles they had to go through in order to achieve all the success that they want in their life. And see that version as you. I want you to step into that picture now. And I want you to notice what feeling comes over. And I want you to give it a label and give it a color. And when you've got that label and that color, I want you to take a nice deep breath in. Fill your lungs with that air, fill your lungs with that color. And with every breath in, you can feel your lungs just fill even more and more as your body becomes saturated with that color. Breathe it in deeper now. Notice how those feelings spread through your chest, through your shoulders, down through your stomach, up your neck, into your head, completely consuming your mind, down your arms, down through your hips, through your thighs. And that color and that feeling and that breath, just like the oxygen that it fills your blood with, starts to run through your whole system. And it starts to empower you. And it starts to give you the success that you want, because you can already see it and you can already feel it. Take another nice deep breath in and fill your lungs with that beautiful color, that beautiful air, until you know that you've got that feeling, that better version of you, that best version of you locked into your neurology, locked into every cell of your body. Take one more nice deep breath in, and then you can rewind 30 seconds, almost as if you weren't hypnotized and you don't even believe in being hypnotized. 1, 2, 3, back to the room. Take another nice deep breath in, and back to me. All right. And then in your own time, how are you guys doing? Good? Thumbs up? Good. All right. All right. So you guys are all muted, so I don't know how you felt, but hopefully that gave you enough empowerment and motivation to be able to live the best version of you.
Real quick, Bradley.
How do you feel?
Bradley, how was that for you, man?
Well, I think I've been as deep as I've ever been in a very, very long time in a hypnosis session. That was like so deep. I went really deep. Incredible. It's just rapid like that, very fast. Like the induction was very fast. It was good.
Great.
Yeah, I could feel like the whole thing, like entering myself, and I could feel myself, being up with and so forth. And incredible. Very good.
Awesome.
That's amazing. I wish I could have seen you guys all. I think I just had Paula, but Paula's a good subject.
Am I was in my brain for a moment when you said open eyes, close eyes. I was oh, shall I open really? Like maybe it's new methodical thing, but I still kept my closed eyes. And eventually, in the end, I saw myself what I want to reach in the future. So I experienced quite good meditation. Yeah, it was very good vision. Thank you.
All right. So that was fucking awesome. This entire call was fucking awesome. So thank you for hopping on, dude. I appreciate everything. Now,
absolutely, I loved it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So I do have one quick announcement, because like an hour ago, I talked about Forbes Riley, and I said I would get her on a call. So I texted her, and she said she's down to hop on a call. So that's super cool. And real quick, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you a 2-minute promo reel, so you have an idea of who she is. That way, none of you are going to be stupid and miss this fucking call. Okay. All right. Now, also to pre-frame that, Forbes Riley, like I love her like no other human being. Because I told you all, Before I became Tyler the Hypnotist, I was hypnotized into my power, my confidence, my voice. The person who did that was Forbes Riley. So I'm literally so fucking excited for her to hop on this call with you guys. But let me share my screen, and then we'll wrap up in like 3 minutes. Can you guys see yourself for this? Yeah? I can't see any of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live for this.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
I live for this energy, for your heart. How you guys feeling? You are in the right place and the right time. This internet thing has changed everything, hasn't it? Yeah, it doesn't matter how young, how old, how disabled, mentally or physically. You can do it. You don't have to wait for a boss anymore. What do you want? Look at me. What do you want?
I want to be able to earn enough to take care of myself and my kids.
Yeah, that's nice. What do you want?
Help veterans.
What do you want?
To improve myself. I am. I'm just too excited, and it's just, this whole thing has just been such a great learning experience. It really has.
Everybody raise your hand. It's not a Simon Says thing. Raise your hand. If you hear someone at this convention for the next day and a half say, I don't know, slap them. I do know, however, that the more I give away, the more I've been getting. How does that feel? That maybe this life isn't all about you. My goal right now, are you willing to play with me? Say yes. Say yes! Thank you! That is how you gross $2.5 billion. You don't go, I'd like it. The reason I'm on this stage and you're not, there's only one reason. I dream bigger than most people. That's how everything happens with a vision and a dream.
Okay. That's a cool fucking video. Anyway, that's Forbes Riley. She'll be a guest speaker. I don't know when yet. You guys will see the announcement. This was a wonderful call. The recording will be up tomorrow. Everest, man, thank you so much for hopping on, dude. And Everest will also be at Hypnotist Secrets Live. So, we have Forbes Riley playing in the background. Yeah, see you guys Wednesday. Have a great fucking day, yeah? Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hey, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It was really good conversation.
Good.
I like
It really
it.
was.